Welcome to the show. It is a terrible show and getting worse with my voice, but luckily it's barely recovering. Didn't even have a episode last week. I'm sorry about that. To all two of you who watch, pretty much, at least live. But I had promised we were going to do a Box Elder County special, and that's what this is. So, with my terrible voice, I got Brandon on here with us today. But before we get into that, we need to get to something really cool. Babe, go ahead and pull up aliens.gov. Switch over to display so everyone can watch that. Let's just view this. This is hilarious.
I love how he's trolling everyone. Official government website.
They walk among us. Scroll on down. Is there an
keep
X
scrolling.
for that ad?
Nope.
Gosh dang.
That's weird.
That's irritating.
Keep scrolling. Keep scrolling till it starts to... Yeah, there you go.
It just keeps doing this down the whole screen, you said.
Yeah. You get to read all about it, how they walk among us. I don't get the ad on my phone, so I don't know why the ad's up. But...
Yeah. Difference between desktop and mobile, and which is ridiculous because I've got freaking like 3 ad blocker extensions on my...
Yeah, they might actually go through the website.
Yeah, probably. So, if you haven't gone to aliens.gov, go to aliens.gov. They are among us, just not the ones that you think they're implying. So, let's go ahead and get into this. So, Box Elder County Data Center has been kind of going crazy. A lot of stuff has happened in a very short period of time. We've had, 2 water rights applications done now. Both have now been withdrawn.
Yep, and the second one was underneath, I think it was Wonder Valley, because it's called the Strato/Wonder Valley project, and so they did the second application underneath Wonder Valley. Now the question is, do they have another application there that we haven't noticed yet? It seems like they're kind of testing out how small amount can they get to slip through, or what do they put on it to get to slip through and no one notices.
Yeah.
And you noticed how much they say they're going to do the power plant for? Or the data center?
9 gigawatts.
What do you mean?
You were noticing a certain number for how many gigabytes or...
9 gigawatts.
Well, it's 9 gigawatts. We've talked about that.
I know, but you were noticing one small little thing. They're like, he's going, that's not even, you said that's not even the start of the size of the data center. They want to start with that first for the power plant. It was like 0.7. Maybe I'm wrong.
I don't remember.
We'll have to just see later.
No, I just remember we got into the whole natural gas thing and how much natural gas they need, and some of the numbers don't add up.
Mm-hmm.
A lot. They're going to need a lot.
A lot of the numbers don't add up.
Well,
Yes.
They're going to need a lot of natural gas. The city of LA uses about 9 gigawatts
Yeah.
of power.
Besides, they're trying to lie this way through, lie about everything and just shove it through. That's what they're doing.
So, let's get into it. We got this first article. Documents reveal why this area of Box Elder County was chosen for the Stratus project. Basically, it's unused land. They need it. It has water rights.
Mm-hmm.
And it's private, so they can kind of jam it through without any county approvals. Kind of. We'll get into that. There's actually... You hear about the lawsuit on this?
Mm-hmm.
So we'll get into that.
There's actually been several lawsuits on this whole project.
Oh, okay. Several now?
Just on different aspects of it. On the labor, on they're trying to figure out if they can do national security, because a certain amount of it has to be done. And Kevin O'Leary isn't an American, so having not that I'm against that, it's just having a non-American do a national security project is a little...
also
Well, I
doing
mean,
a twin for it up in Canada. It's kind of like...
If he was Swedish, I wouldn't have a problem with it. The problem is that he's Canadian.
No. I don't have any problem with Kevin O'Leary at all. I think he's a great businessman. I mean, he probably would sell his own grandmother, but I think there was even an article in the Times Magazine about that.
See, that's the thing. I don't have a problem with him as a businessman. My only problem with him has been this data center project. I don't like this at all.
Yeah, I'm gonna play a little bit of a devil's advocate on
That's
this,
fine.
but I don't like it either. It's going to change things, but that's not why I don't like it. I just don't like it because... So back in the day when kerosene became a big thing, right? Kerosene was needed for everything. All the lights, were powered by kerosene. And so they were, digging oil up out of the ground. They didn't have plastics yet. They didn't really even use gasoline yet. They didn't really use crude or oil for much of anything yet. Just they're like kerosene. This stuff makes kerosene. Now we use it for plastics. We use it for medicines. We use it. I mean, one barrel of oil is split up into like 7 different sections through the process.
And each section's got multiple different products.
Yeah, and each section's got multiple different products: gasoline, diesel, all this stuff, and it's all separated like you would, oil, water, and dirt and sand, and it's all got different uses.
I deal with that too because we have the HDPE pipeline when we lay pipe. High density polyethylene. It's fantastic pipe because it goes in real easy. Kind of fusing it's a B, but it's still though it's like it has its advantages.
Yeah, and lightweight, fairly durable, but not just when we were pulling it out. We were pulling it out for one thing, right? We're just drawing it out for kerosene. And in Missouri, there was a time when they had a fire. The Missouri River, I think, caught on fire because they were dumping gasoline.
Oh my gosh.
Because gasoline was the byproduct. It was either Mississippi or the Missouri, but it was a byproduct of making kerosene, and they were just dumping the byproducts. Now, of course, we're smarter than that now, ish.
Yeah.
Except Iran's doing that.
Well, they do a lot of... They're doing that for a different reason. They just can't store it anymore, and they can't stop the pumps. But I just want to make sure that when we do something like this, that we don't just ask for permission later. Or what's the term? It's easier to ask for forgiveness than permission.
Yeah.
That's what's going to cause problems. Thankfully, there's almost nothing out there, right?
And if people want to know why they can't just turn off the pumps, a good example is here with water pumps for our wells. There are a lot of wells there, even our smaller wells in Utah County, that they cost about $15,000 worth of electricity to start up. You flip that switch to turn it on, it's $15,000 just to get it going. And once it's running, it's pretty stable and it's not that expensive, but the startup cost is immense. So it's like these wells for oil, that's why they're just dumping it and getting rid of it because they can't turn those wells off because they turn them off. There's no guarantee they can get them back on.
Or worse, they build up natural gas and that fills the empty spot, and then you have to get all sorts of other stuff out. I mean, it's a dangerous job.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, sorry, I was... So, Tuli, we were going to... There's been a lot of problems with this.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the first thing that they're saying that's the best thing for why they're building it there is it has direct access to the Ruby Pipeline, a major natural gas corridor, and there is existing fiber infrastructure for data connectivity.
Conveniently, a lot of that's owned by Cox, isn't it?
I don't know. It's just he's been building in rural areas. So.
Yeah, I believe Cox's company, Centricom, has been building a lot of fiber
family.
in rural areas.
He's not part of it anymore. His family's in charge of it.
Yeah.
Not part of it, but if he doesn't give his family the contract, it makes Thanksgiving dinner a little awkward.
Well, that's the other thing with big things like this, and Utah's notorious for it. I mean, we have a Walmart going in Provo, right? Or they're trying to. And it's owned by Ken Valley Dodge, or...
The property is?
The property's owned by some billionaire, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he's asking to lease the property to them, and he's asking Provo to not charge property tax for the next 5 years on it. And it's like, well, what? Like, he's asking for favors so that Walmart can come in because he owns the property and he's not going to sell the property. It's this weird relationship out here between property owners, large corporation property owners, and government that it causes this disparity for all the little people. Like, if I was to go out and buy property, I have to spend almost $1 million to even get the paperwork done. That's about $90,000 to start with, to just get the red tape done. And then I've got to make sure it's zoned properly, and then I've got to do the building itself, which is going to cost more because they're very picky about how things are built out here. It's like...
Yeah, that's the thing, too, with this data center. What's the normal tax rate? It's like 6 or 7% property tax?
No, 6%. It said it was the I think it's the energy tax or something like that.
Oh, the
6%.
energy use tax.
Yes.
They're going to drop the energy use tax from like 6% to 0.5% for a few years. META is.
Yeah, it's why does a government have the ability to do? I mean, for one thing,
Well, it's a government agency, not the legislator.
well, yeah,
The legislator should be passing the law that allows them to have that break, not an agency just choosing to reduce taxes on someone who's
Well,
giving
you-
them a bunch of land.
you know my feeling about who gets to tax and why.
Yeah.
Yeah, Congress, according to the Constitution, only Congress has the ability to tax.
Technicality there. It's not given to the states, so it does. So theoretically, states do not have power to tax.
And then you have the Fifth Amendment, which is shall not confiscate private property for public use without just compensation, meaning you can't tax my property. Period. End of story.
See, that's my problem. Is it says shall not confiscate property for public use without just compensation. I think we would get rid of the just compensation part and just have shall not confiscate private property for public use.
Yeah.
Period.
You're right.
Period.
Well, I've told you.
Like if you confiscate property as a punishment for a crime, different story.
Which is actually listed without.
But for public
without
use
just
like
cause.
that needs to go away.
I've told you. I think if they want to keep pushing for property taxes, it needs to be written in that also protects your property title from being stolen. The government should be in charge of that. That's part of your property
Yeah.
taxes.
Yeah.
Is your title insurance. So if
Yeah.
someone comes in and fakes being you, it's like, you guys need to take care of this. I pay my taxes every single time and guarantee it's me. You need to stop them from stealing my stuff.
That
See,
would
the
be
thing that
nice.
sucks about this is our property rights laws and our water rights laws are kind of what made this attractive in the first place for the data center. But it's a catch-22 because the same laws also make it so Bill Gates, we're one of the states he doesn't buy farmland in. Because all the farmland he buys is specifically over underground aquifers. And he won't buy in Utah because of our water rights laws, because he has no true authority over the water rights he buys. So it's a catch-22. It's like this guy can, with data centers, it helps. The way our water rights is written can help for them.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, it prevents people from Bill Gates from even being interested in buying land here.
Yeah, the only reason his fortune exists is with government contracts anyway. So it's like, without government, you won't have billionaires. Or without government intervention, you wouldn't have billionaires.
Yeah.
I mean, we get good things. We
You
do.
probably would still have billionaires. They probably just wouldn't be so maniacal.
Yeah, you wouldn't need to be a billionaire at that point because the prices would be way lower too because there'd be
True.
more competition.
If the government couldn't just go burr,
If
money
I-
printer go burr.
I own a business, right? So why don't I get a tax cut when I move my business in? When I moved my business to Utah,
Yeah.
why didn't I get a special, kickback for?
Yeah.
That's the problem. It's you can't pick and choose.
If the government would stop printing extra money, we might combat this inflation because
That
we'd
would
have
be nice.
a better, our dollar would be more valuable, not
Yeah.
so poorly valued right now.
Yeah, that would be really nice. Apparently, Trump's doing something with the Fed right now. He's looking into some serious stuff with it. Although the last president to deal with the Fed was,
I saw a weird
Kennedy.
article saying that a CIA operative possibly had millions of gold bars at his
Well,
house.
hold
I don't know
on.
if that's true though.
Let's think about this. The best president to possibly look into the Fed is Trump. I mean, how many bullets has he actually dodged? Literally.
hey, he's been hit once.
Barely.
Barely. I know, but that barely, a centimeter to the left, and that barely would have been a right on target.
Look, just saying, he's got a track record of actually getting missed.
Yeah, no.
So, if anything, he might be the president that can get it done.
The
He's the one-
bulletproof man.
He might just be the bulletproof man. Who
Yeah, let's
knows?
hope he stays that way.
Hmm.
Even when Biden was president, people were like, "Oh, it's no, we need to do no. Let's not try and kill the president of the United States. That
No.
is, even if you don't agree with him, there are better ways to deal with it. There are way better ways to deal with, the problems that we have. And
Yeah.
election is one. I became a delegate. That's another.
Well, that's the thing is theoretically, going into basically that would be an act of civil war, effectively. Theoretically, that would be you would do that when you've exhausted all other options, but we haven't done that.
Well, no, and
There's
even
so many options available to
Yeah.
us to not have to resort to violence, and that's also, I think, why you see conservatives typically don't resort to violence, because we use those avenues so effectively. We don't use them very often,
no.
but when we do use them,
It's-
we're
it's
very
total.
effective at it. And so we're very good at using those options available to us to counter the government.
Yeah, well, when communication breaks down, that's when violence starts.
Mhm.
And then you look at like what started this right here, right? We already had an established government, an elected government.
Yeah.
We already had self-sufficiency. We were already our own country. It was less of a rebellion and more of we don't want to be under your thumb anymore. So who gave the authority to the rebels? The people did.
Mm-hmm.
The elected government did. It wasn't like a whole bunch of ragtag. I mean, they were made up of ragtag pirates.
There's a lot
and
of
smugglers.
ragtags there.
But they received their authority from an elected government, which
Yeah.
is what makes it different from just about any other revolution on the planet. It's why it was it's why it's the only successful revolution in world history, at least that I can think of.
Yeah, so babe, I can scroll down. People have probably been looking at that for a while and getting annoyed by it.
Okay.
So the area also has proven geotechnical conditions for large-scale development. In other words, you can build big buildings on it.
Yeah.
Well, it sees fewer natural disasters. There aren't hurricanes. Tornadoes are rare, and earthquakes are usually small.
And that's something you can say about all of Utah. For the most part, you can say that about almost all of Utah.
Except they don't include a drought. We don't have enough water.
Yeah, it's going to rip a lot of water, which we already sell to other states, but rip a lot of water from the mountain area.
And there's some bull crap right there. Finally, the Stratos project is positioned close enough to Brigham City and Tremont that it can use those cities' workforces. Yeah, as their DoorDash. Let's be honest. They're not going to be the employees of the data center. They're going to be the DoorDashers for the data center.
Well, actually, for people in those areas right now, get your kids electrical engineering degrees, or
Yeah.
get them
With
on
the nuclear project.
Yeah, I mean, that's something else too that they're trying. I've been pushing for personally is getting a nuclear reactor out here, because we have, for the same exact reason, we have the best natural disasters are less than likely. I mean, if the one natural disaster that can really happen around Utah happened, no one is going to do anything about it, because it's just Yellowstone. It's just not going to happen, right?
Yeah.
That's everybody's in a
The whole planet's in a pickle if that happens.
Yeah, well, luckily that's not happening anytime soon.
But also,
Cross your fingers.
we've also discussed about how the Great Salt Lake is drying up. I've mentioned I partly wonder if it says supposedly there are 40 data centers in Utah right now, smaller ones.
Mhm.
I think most of them are in Salt Lake County. They could probably be drawing a bunch of that water, and why the Great Salt Lake is drying up, because they're pulling from the
Well, it
streams, they're
depends on
pulling from the
where.
aquifer.
It depends on where their water's coming from.
I know.
Most of them in those city areas is probably coming through pipelines, probably irrigation water or something like that.
It might the Salt Lake. The reason Salt Lake is drying up is because we've been using it for the mines.
Yeah.
That's the reason why. And that's again, Governor Cox has been allowing it to be used.
Yeah.
I mean, the other thing is too. It's not like, and I hate to say it, it's not like Salt Lake is much of a use for anything else. Like, I mean, it's
that and brine shrimp.
It's brine shrimp. I mean, and I'm not saying we should drain it. What I'm saying is, I'm pretty sure that's how people are looking at it. At least people who are, making these decisions. It's like, oh, what's it gonna hurt, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it will hurt weather. It will hurt, because if you get it,
Air quality, because
it'll
that
hurt air
dries
quality.
up completely the
And
dust
it's-
from that.
and it's salt dust.
And
That
all,
stuff.
and all the other chemicals.
And all
from
the other chemicals.
Years and years, over a century of crap.
Oh yeah, it's gonna turn the whole place into a
and
wasteland.
if
So we
the
gotta be
water
careful.
from the data center isn't being treated or taken care of properly, all the chemicals from that will be coming down there too.
See, and that's one of my stipulations is if these supposed closed loop water systems are not closed loop, they're bring it in, use it, and then send it out and bring more in.
Or you have to send out
So
not
not
all of
truly
it, but a
closed
small
loop.
portion of it. A small portion of it has to be taken out, and they can't.
Why would they do
get
that
everything
though?
out.
Why couldn't they just keep using the same water?
Because it's going through a whole different, filters and pipes and stuff. There's runoff, there's calcium deposits, there's all sorts of stuff. So if they're using a reverse osmosis system to where they get actual pure H2O, right? Then they have this problem of pure H2O has nothing in it. It's just oxygen and hydrogen,
Yeah.
right? If you drank it, it would dehydrate you because it saps all the nutrients, right? Problem is
Okay.
those pipes are made of something, and they're going to carry that something throughout the whole pipe system. It's not going to be 100%. There's going to be extra stuff, and so they have to clean it every once in a while
Yeah.
for their filters, which is what they should be doing. I mean,
Or-
otherwise they're going to have even bigger
So why
problems.
couldn't they just empty it into a pool and then do a cleaning process and then bring it back in?
That would be expensive.
And then it wouldn't be in our freaking lake. Sure, you can't do much with the lake, but seriously.
Well, I agree with you that the problem is it's expensive. You can also use gas cooling systems, but gas cooling systems aren't nearly as efficient as water cooling systems. And these, because you're putting it out in a desert, you can't use an air cooled system because the air outside is already
You're
going to be
limited on how
hotter than your
cold-
GPU or your GPUs are going to be
Yeah,
anyway.
you're
You have to
limited.
use these water cooled systems in order to do this. Otherwise, you're just putting out way too much money into the whole device. It's one of the reasons why orbital data centers, they're not only possible, they will eventually have to happen because
Well,
we're gonna-
Elon Musk is already working on that.
well, yeah, and so people are like, well, you have to have these massive radiators to cool them because there's no air in space, and so they won't radiate heat fast enough. It's like you can easily have a satellite that's about the size of this table filled with GPUs, right? And on one side you have the heat sink, and on the other side you have the radiator, and then you have your two sets of solar panels out there, and that'll remain cool. You don't need a massive radiator. You just
Yeah.
need
You would need one for a hyperscale data center, but that's the
depends
thing,
on-
though, is
it depends on how far apart they are.
yeah,
I mean, the cool thing about space is it's kind of infinite. The biggest
fair.
problem is latency. That's why, I mean, you look at the moon, right? It takes 2 seconds to get a signal to the moon and back.
yeah.
Like, there's this latency that we have. That's why communication
That's built
satellites.
in.
Yeah.
That's just built in by distance.
And communication satellites are out about, 21,000 kilometers, I think, something like that. No, 21,000 miles. They're out at 21,000 miles, and they're just orbiting geosynchronous orbit, but it takes time to get back and forth, so there's latency. But all that space in between, right?
Mhm.
The latency is a lot less. So there's a lot of, hundreds of times the surface of the Earth,
Mhm.
right? There's a lot of space out there that we can use, that we can put satellites up there for data centers and not have a massive latency problem.
Yeah.
The biggest problem in that case is still the cost. How much money is it going to cost to put a single, data satellite up there?
Yeah.
That's
So-
why Elon Musk is thinking about it.
I was thinking of either a transmission or the oil in your car as an example about it. Is even though it runs constantly, it gets grungy. Either like the oil starts breaking down or pulling stuff from inside the engine. So some of it has to be taken out and replaced.
Yeah, it's similar.
I just say it's a similar thing, Kyle, that
Yeah.
it runs so long and such high heat, I could see it, some of those chemicals start breaking down, causing problems, so they have to reduce it.
Yeah.
And then put new fresh stuff in because some kind of chemical reaction starts happening.
Yeah, well, hopefully they're keeping it under 90 degrees because GPUs, they're you want to keep them cool. The more of
Yeah.
them you have, the more heat they generate. And so you have heat sinks, you have fans, you have pumps, you have
Yeah.
all these things. A gas system would also have extra pumps, and then you would have the expensive gas.
Mhm.
That's some sort of refrigerant in there. You'd still have to replace that, which is expensive. So the way they're doing it is the most cost effective. I can understand why they're doing it. The problem is we need to make sure that, because Utah has environmental issues already, we need to make sure that we follow these. And I'm not a
already in
Greenpeace guy. I'm
We're
like,
what? We're probably in a record-setting drought this year.
maybe.
We might be in a record-setting drought. this year.
We've had a lot of water the last 3 years, so I'm not too afraid of it.
I think I saw Emory
I just know
County.
this last winter was terrible.
Last winter was terrible. I think it snowed once and none of it stuck.
I
Yeah.
think I saw Emory County. The farmers are having issues finding water for their cattle.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they're going to, and that's a problem. So we're having this fight between farmland and technology. And we're going to continue to have that fight until one day we decide, and again, I'm not a Greenpeace guy, but when it comes to food, I like having it.
Here's the thing.
Where does it come from?
I can't eat a CPU.
No.
I can't eat a CPU.
And we either have to move the cows to space or we have to move the data centers eventually to space. Eventually, we are going to get there.
Yeah.
That is where it's going to be. But it's good news for the space community because everybody's like, well, what's in space? We don't need anything, so we don't need to build rockets to get there. And
Yeah.
I love Elon Musk and I love his idea of a multi-planet society, but I'm not living on Mars anytime soon because the gravity here on Earth is kind of nice. But what is up there is literally
It'd be
space.
nice to make. It would be nice to jump like Michael Jordan for once.
Yeah, until then you come back to Earth for a vacation and you break a leg because you walked up this flight of stairs.
Yeah, I know, right?
So, I mean, yeah, I think this will... I'm not trying to predict anything, but in my opinion, this could be the launching pad to make space equitable. Not tourism, but data.
Actually, make it profitable.
But I
It would be profitable.
I agree with you that it's going to be a fight between technology or food, and these people don't realize where does your food come from.
Yeah.
It has to come from a farmer, but then they just go, oh, we just do these aquaponics. And I'm going, the soil isn't that good. They don't put enough nutrients. That you have a tomato grown out in the dirt, out with the fresh sun, nutrients. It tastes so much better than a tomato that's grown in an aquaponics.
Well, even then, aquaponics is still not cost effective. Your tomato is going to cost $10
Yeah.
Yes.
because of the system. I mean, it's everything is energy, right?
Mhm.
Everything, and everything is about energy,
Yeah.
right? And energy is everything. So, our whole economic system, the way we live our lives, can be measured by what we measure by calories. That's energy. We measure miles per gallon. That's energy.
Mhm.
We measure even our dollar is technically just basic communication on how we deal with the transference of energy from one state to another.
Mhm.
Like all the dollar is its communication. We all agree that this thing is useful for these things. So it just takes, instead of I'm going to trade this and this and this, it cuts all that communication out and says I have the dollar. This is what I'm communicating to you. I get a loaf of bread.
It's our medium of exchange.
Yeah,
But people don't know where their food comes from anymore. If you
A lot of people
imagine these 40,000 acres are nothing but for beef cattle, all those beef cattle are gone, our ground beef prices are going to go up even higher because there won't be enough beef for everyone to have. That's the thing.
Locally,
If you think about it, if those 40,000 acres were nothing but beef cattle, and you get rid of them all, that is going to be a huge increase in our area for how much.
Apparently, they
All the
claim
costs.
some of that land will still be used for grazing, but
I don't think
Sure.
the heat's going to ruin it. From the heat that's going to be
the amount of
sent out.
predictions of how much energy it's going to put out, heat into the air it's going to put out, it could actually cause serious issues
And
with grazing.
they are doing. We saw on a rendition they want to do solar panels. That's going to create a whole
That doesn't
heat sector
even
too.
make sense to me.
so there's no way. I don't believe Kevin would ever do solar panels. I mean, maybe as a secondary system.
Yeah.
But
Well, that's the thing is, it was going to be the map I saw was 3,000 acres
Solar
for
panels.
solar panels. It's like, what is this even going to do? It's useless at night.
yeah,
They're extremely expensive. All they're going to do is maybe give you a tax break because it's a Greenpeace bullcrap.
So either
3,000
they're
acres of solar panels at what 400 kilowatts. That's the top end. So you're probably looking at 150 on average during the day.
Mm-hmm.
Although to be honest, Utah is probably the best location for solar panels on the planet. It
Put 'em
really
on
is.
top of the damn data centers. Don't freaking put it on good land.
Well, they might not have enough roof space. I'd have to look into that because solar power is not efficient.
No.
It's very expensive. It costs more to make the panels than the panels. Again, everything is energy. How much energy do the panels take to build? Most panels don't actually even pay off their own life, right? They don't generate as much energy in their
Yeah.
entire life as they do to take.
Do we have how
make
many child slave labor hours in Africa it takes to make one panel?
Oh, the cobalt. That's
I don't
something
know.
else too.
But I just think it's going to raise the heat other than what the heat the power plant's going to create. Those are going to absorb heat. It's just going to add more heat to this whole entire bubble and just ruin the area.
They might. It depends on the area.
Yeah.
I mean, Again,
some days will be worse than others, kind of thing.
yeah, when it comes to panels themselves, if it's already hot out there, it's not going to make much of a difference for 3,000 acres. That might sound a lot. 3,000 acres is not going to make much of a difference in weather-wise.
Mm-hmm.
It will reflect a lot of the heat, a lot of certain types of radiation, because solar panels don't work off of infrared. They work off of other
Temperature difference.
Yeah, in fact, they're less effective the hotter they get.
Yeah.
So
It's, kind of. So, from what it is the solar panel has a conductor between two semiconductors.
Mm-hmm.
Then the semiconductors, if one side is super hot and the one side is cooler, the greater the temperature difference, the greater the flow of electricity.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, on an extremely hot day, if the bottom can be kept pretty cold, the more dramatic, then the better, the more efficient they are.
The more efficient they are, yeah.
But that's kind of that's why it's like I saw in Europe they were putting solar panels on top of canals. It's like that's actually really smart because the evaporation will help keep that bottom side cool, and so then those will become a little more efficient because of that.
Who knows? They might run water to them to keep them cooler, to make them more efficient. That's just wasting more water.
More water.
I know. I'm just saying that's a possibility. Okay. Next article.
Yeah, set up that next article. Let's look at more of this stuff. There's a lot to go through.
Okay.
You want to do some of the reading, babe? Because
Yeah.
the more I go, the worse this voice is going to get.
Okay, the
My
call
voice
is
was actually pretty
coming
good this morning.
from inside the State House. This is just showing a little bit of information that we're kind of wondering about.
This is Elevate Utah.
Yep.
They're a bunch of wacko lefties. I don't want to agree with them, but I'm being kind of forced to agree with them because I don't want the data center either.
Okay, so Kevin O'Leary went on Fox News and accused local Utah organizations, including ours, of acting as a Chinese Communist Party cells. It was
Which they
easy
are.
to focus on the absurdity.
Well, here's the thing. They're not really a Chinese Communist Party cell. They just happen to agree with the Chinese Communist Party, so they get money through
From-
organizations from them,
the Chinese Communist
but
Party.
not because they're bought out by them.
Yeah.
And right here, but his accusation...
They're not really a cell. It's just more like interests converge.
But his accusations showed exactly how powerful people respond when normal questions start getting just a little too close to home. They start trying to point fingers and be mean. What was he saying? Most of the protesters were busted from out of state? I believe most of them were
I
from
don't believe
the
it.
county and neighboring
Yeah,
counties.
most likely not, because most of the protesters are probably not leftist in
Yeah.
this case.
Yeah.
Because was there any violence?
No.
Okay, well then, yeah, definitely not leftist protesters. Sorry, that's a low blow, but still.
No, but it's true.
Well, is it wrong?
No, I did security for right wing, events, and specifically to thwart, violence, and we still had people act violently against us.
Yeah.
So the powerful politicians and billionaires don't answer the questions. They attack the people asking them. Kevin didn't explain the water, the power, the impacts on the Great Salt Lake, the tax breaks he's getting, or why local residents were kept in the dark until the Stratos project was already moving. Instead, he tried to turn public scrutiny into foreign conspiracy.
In general,
From a foreigner,
yeah,
Yeah.
from a guy from Canada.
I know. In general, I don't want to agree with these lefties, but they are not wrong that when instead of going and addressing issues, you decide to go and attack the people asking questions. It makes me question your motives.
Well, I think a lot of that has to do with pride too. Again, I'm playing devil's advocate. I'm not saying
to be fair,
he's not
he does
guilty.
have a big ego.
Oh, he has a huge ego.
He's just like Trump. He's got a big ego.
Well, Trump has more altruistic tendencies than Kevin, I think.
Oh I still a big ego.
Yeah, still a big ego.
Their motivations may be different. They just have a big ego.
I saw a video. Some individuals went to Miami, Florida, where he has a home, and they were trying to get signatures to build a data center in his backyard area.
Yeah.
People were not very happy with
That's
that.
so great, Kevin. Put it in your yard.
Well, so you go to the doctor, right? You tell the doctor this hurts. I think it's this, and he looks at you and he goes, you're looking at WebMD too much, right? Mm-hmm. Right? It's because he thinks he knows something you don't, and he just doesn't want to explain it because he thinks you're simple. I feel Kevin feels the same way. I'm not saying he's not hiding anything, but when it comes to these big deals, You don't want to give too much information. For one, your competition will then go, oh, okay, well, then we're going to do this to
And that's
stop
fair.
you. That's fair. The other thing is, I don't think he thinks that Utahns are very smart.
Probably not.
He thinks we're rural people who just do farming and don't have any bigger ideologies than just sitting on a farm all day.
Yeah, even though
Which
it's
is-
it's called Silicon Slopes for a reason, right?
Well, that's the other thing.
It's one of the
though,
biggest
too.
tech states.
It's kind of overlooking the fact that we have one of the highest education rates
Yeah,
in
which
the
is-
U.S.
which is kind of scary. It's really scary. So the idea not getting in this information, I can see why. I don't agree with it. I think he should be more upfront. Okay, this is what we're doing with the water. Yes, I'm getting tax breaks. Blame these people. If he named them, I'd be okay with it. It's the same way Trump said, yeah, of course I'm not paying taxes because I'm doing the same thing these people are doing.
Yeah.
I tell you right now, I legally get paid several $1,000s a year by doing my taxes.
Yeah.
Legally, because I have 6 kids. And I make sure that I don't make a certain amount over what my business is, and I spend my money through my business, all legally, all through an accountant, right?
Yeah.
You can, if you can play by those rules, play by those rules. I don't blame Kevin for that. I would like him to just simply name, these people are the ones who gave me the
that's-
tax break.
Mita did
That's
it.
what
They're
people-
the ones that did it.
Yeah.
That's what people liked so much about Trump first term during the campaign, was that he just said it.
Yeah.
Instead of dancing around it, trying to act all bashful about his billions, he's like, hell yeah, I'm a billionaire. I don't give a shit.
He's had failures and successes. That's how you learn.
Yeah. Yeah. And failure is the first step to success. Remember
And
that old
he-
Homer Simpson T-shirt? Failure is the first step to quitting. No.
remember
Trying is the first step to failure.
Oh, okay.
That is the T-shirt. It's Homer Simpson. It says trying is the first step to failure. And I used to look at that and going, that's true.
hilarious.
But failure is the first step to success because you have to fail how many times in order to be successful? I mean, Walt Disney, Thomas Edison, Donald Trump,
But we've talked. We need
Elon Musk.
We need a businessman
Nikola
to help get
Tesla.
our economy back running. We unfortunately need a businessman.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, but Harris, she's not a businessman. She's a drunk. There's no way I would want her in the
Putting it
office
drunk
running the
is
country.
Yeah.
I would prefer to use an endearing
Hyena
term.
laugher lady?
No, I would prefer to use a term from Australia that's typically used as a term of endearment for a friend.
What's her Native American? What's the name that Native Americans gave her? Red knees. Sorry.
Okay.
That's a low blow.
I'm not the one that was there.
So, but also because when someone tries that hard to make the story
love
about
the pun.
I
something,
think that was a little below the belt.
as far as China, it is worth asking what do they not want people looking at in Utah? Why do they not want the focus here? Why are they trying to say, look at China, they're the ones doing the protests?
Well, again, in this case, I don't think he realizes that he's touching on one of the big conservative arteries in the United States. I mean, you have Texas, yes. You have stuff in the Midwest.
For a
Texas
long
is having
time.
problems, though. I'm worried about them.
Yeah, I think Texas will probably fight tooth and nail. Florida's a big one.
For a
Utah's
long
different,
time,
though.
We've been considered a kind of like the artery of the red Republican roots. And I think there's still a lot of people who argue that the most important part of conservatism is in Utah, that it just kind of spreads out from there.
Yeah, it's that type of conservatism that doesn't change, right? I mean, it's...
And that's a good point, because Christy actually just was showing me a video the other day about genetics here in Utah. I didn't realize this, but thanks to us Mormons, basically all of genetic science wouldn't really exist if it weren't for us. And it's not because of us being the scientists. It's because of all the very specific immigration from specific parts of Europe that came into Utah and then cut off at a certain timeline.
But also because we had
The interest.
families, we had genetic tracers.
And well, we
and
had the
huge-
genealogies showing our pedigree charts so they could track those genetic traits.
Yeah.
So like colon cancer, the genetic trait that causes it, all because of our pedigree charts. It's all
lot of
like
that in
and it's
Canada,
not just that.
actually.
It's the same like 48. It's all like the same 48 families too. That they were able to track down breast cancer, the gene, prostate cancer gene, a few others too.
Yeah, and all before we even had a really big medical school. I mean, UVU has a great medical program, but it's interesting how culture drives certain things. And I think what Kevin needs to do is I think he needs to listen to what's going on, what we want with this, right? Or what he wants with it. And he needs to communicate with the people in Utah and say, look, this is what we want, right? This is what we're going to promise. And I want to make money. I want you guys to make money. Because he really doesn't care if anybody else makes money. But if everybody else makes money, it's a lot easier
to get us on board.
But
right?
they're not giving us any idea of how they're going to save the Great Salt Lake. It's just going to drain water. That's what we see. They say, oh, it's going to be closed loop. How are you going to protect the Great Salt Lake from drying?
I really hope they're not pulling the water from Salt Lake, because that would be terrible. That'd be so much.
Well, here's the thing.
Desalination.
They're not pulling it from the Great Salt Lake, which they probably won't. They're going to probably pull it from groundwater. But if it comes from the groundwater, there's all the other ponds and stuff in the area that are going to go down, which those are ponds that normally run off into the Great Salt Lake.
Yeah.
Now, if that water comes back out and goes back into the Great Salt Lake, not much of an issue. There's a little loss of evaporation because of the heat.
But it's the chemicals.
But the chemicals are going to be the main concern, especially if we can't turn around this issue in general with the Great Salt Lake.
Well, he just needs to make sure he's got clean pipes, that he has some sort of filtration system that he's capturing the stuff. If he can do that, he might be able to change some people's mind. Again, I'm not happy it's going in, but I'm not happy it's going in for the reasons that we don't know what's going in. We are not being communicated with.
That's the biggest thing, is so much is not being made public about this.
We're seriously being told, well, it's going to be good. Just sit down. The adults are talking. That's exactly what they're doing.
Every single time the government said that, though, that's when we've gotten screwed.
No, exactly.
And so it's like,
I agree with you.
We don't want to believe them. And it's like, if they were being straightforward and actually revealing all the information, it probably wouldn't be an issue.
Which makes you think, well, they must be hiding something. They must be doing something that they don't want to disclose for some reason, right? Something that would make us fight harder.
Well, if they put that tainted water back into the Great Salt Lake, it dries up, it's going to be a larger health hazard. Okay.
That's true.
So,
let's just keep scrolling down. See, I think there's a few other things. Didn't they bring up on here? Was it this article or another one from them?
Well, this one. So this one points out that the Speaker of the Utah House of Representatives possibly has a little bit of a stake in this article.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to have to make a call.
No, he's got property nearby he bought like a year ago.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And there's no way this project wasn't known about by the state.
And it's under Mike Schultz, Inc. And it's 600 and something acres. And it's underneath his property. There's no disclosure of how much he spent. It's
now,
just
to be fair,
for
this
$10.
is Elevate Utah's website.
Yeah.
But this is all publicly accessible info, so it can be easily fact-checked.
Well, if you pay $1.50, you can...
No.
You can purchase in the recorder office.
No, you don't. Yeah, you could pay $1.50 to purchase from the recorder office, but you could also just go and purchase some OnX membership, and then look up every property in the area at the same time.
Yeah, but this also, I think, shows the transfer.
Well, even then, it should be on the county website. County websites have the listed owners.
You can ask any realtor.
It shows the transfer.
And let's be honest, Schultz Inc. is not like he's trying to hide it.
That's true.
It's not like he's trying to hide that. So it should be easy to find out.
Yeah, that type of... See, and here's the problem with government in general. I mean, on both sides, it doesn't matter, right? You get information, and you go, it's really not... Nobody's going to buy it within the year anyway. I'm going to go out and buy it, and I'm going to make money off of it. I'm going to benefit from it. The thing about public service is you should never benefit from public service, ever. Otherwise, you get corruption.
Which is why maybe we should do a referendum and just go to a lay electorate. Kind of like how we have a lay clergy in the LDS Church.
Yeah.
Or they only get paid minimum wage. They get paid minimum wage.
All elected officials are volunteer, not paid.
I actually like the idea, and it's funny because I put out this whole sheet here of like this amendment that I wanted, and some guy online actually did it almost verbatim.
Oh, really?
He's in another state. There's no way he saw it because I didn't even do it on my computer. I just put it up on and wrote it up, and I still have it in a filing cabinet. But elected officials, every elected official will be paid the median income of the people they represent. Period. Fair. They may not buy property. They may not control investments. They may have other people control their investments, but they may not give any information, which is good
Yeah.
because, I mean, it's already kind of what happens anyway now. But
To be fair, on the whole, not being able to control, I used the Autopilot app. Have you heard of it?
Yeah.
Yeah, for Robinhood. And I kind of want to be able to use that Nancy
I
Pelosi
know.
tracker.
I know. We can't anymore. It's now illegal. But the point is, if they have no way to circumvent the system, or if they have to disclose it all, that's
Yeah.
the other thing, is they had to disclose all of their quarterly income from where in a detailed analysis all the time.
Yeah.
Like that way we know where it's coming from. If they do that, then they have to actually hide the money, and if they get caught hiding the money, then it's a federal crime regardless.
Yeah.
Right? Nowadays they can just kind of, well, it's legal for us to do this. I just did it this way instead. Like Nancy Pelosi, a lot of people are like, okay, well, she's doing insider trading, which is was at the time legal for her to do. That's not the scary part. What she did, she used to actually take out land grants, buy the land with a state land grant or a federal land grant, buy the land, and then build something on it, and then sell that land, which she would then make personal money from, to somebody else who would then use that land, and they would buy it with a land grant. So they were using public funds to buy the land
Oh my
and then sell it
gosh.
to friends and family who were using a land grant that was approved by a
That's
department she
almost-
was in charge of.
That's almost as good as the plot in Inception.
Actually, I think that's the plot of Mr. Somebody. What was it? Mr. What's his face goes to Congress? Old black and white Jimmy Stewart movie.
I don't know.
Oh, okay, it's a good movie. I can't remember. I think it's Mr. Smith Goes to Congress or something like that. He becomes a congressman, learns that it's all corrupt, and does a standing filibuster where he talks for like 3 days while Boy Scouts go put out newsreels, and he's got all these congressmen trying to make him out to be this evil guy. It's a good movie, classic movie, brilliant. I wish they would show stuff like that more often.
So, who do you think's telling the truth here? Schultz told Deseret News he was not made aware of the Stratos project until just over 30 days ago, but Kevin O'Leary told Fox and Friends on April 27th that he had met with Governor Cox, Speaker Schultz, and Senate President Stuart Adams in late 2025 about the project.
Yeah, well, he's lying. I mean,
Yeah.
they would have had to have.
Well, the state would have known about this project more than a year ago.
Oh yeah, in order to get the red tape, planned and cut. And it's the sad part is these people are being portrayed, and I think it's funny the Elevate Utah, being a very liberal organization. They're doing good work here, which is nice.
Yeah.
The problem is they're kind of telling on themselves in a way
When
because Cox is not. He might be in the Republican Party, but when we voted, only 27%, I think, voted for him in caucus. We didn't want him.
Well, that's the thing. I was talking to Chrissy. It's like I like what Elevate Utah did here because they did good work on this. But man, I hate the way liberals write because you can tell that they're liberals from the way they write. It's like, shut up! Stop putting in your freaking sentences.
Yeah, this is an opinion piece. I get it. This is an opinion piece. Actually, in college, I wrote opinion pieces.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. I also did, some of the other newspaper articles, and I was one of the editors. But what they're doing here is they're actually showing, yes, we have corruption in Utah. Like, well, Utah's so red. And it's like, yes, the people are red. The government is not.
Every state, red or blue, has corruption.
Oh, yeah.
The difference is which party it is.
Well, and the difference also is...
No. Both parties are corrupt in all 50 states. The problem is how deep is the corruption in the state?
Well, and the other
Some
issue
states are
is
worse than others.
in Minnesota, they're saying don't go, don't look anymore. The people are saying, we don't want this, The left is like, it's not real. And here in Utah, we're like, go ahead. Like,
Yes.
Please
elevate Utah. Please keep looking into this.
Look
It's
into
helpful.
it. Find the
wait.
corruption. Let's take it apart.
Oh, when the
Yeah.
lieutenant governor posted how many non-citizens they took off the voter rolls, if you read slightly farther underneath, it said there's an additional 5,000 plus we can't verify their citizenship.
Yeah.
So it's more than the number she gave.
Yeah, and that's just
You're
it. You always have to read between the lines with any article, and I do that with the conservative articles. Like, okay, hold on a second. The way you wrote this is kind of weird. Like when people say, "Well, the gun deaths are responsible for kill more children than anything else in the United States.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's an interesting article. Let's look at the data. It says it's like ages 0 to 19. Like, well, 19's not a child. So 19 and 18 need to be taken out of there, and all of a sudden the numbers drop considerably because those are gangs.
It's all
it's like,
gang
wait a
violence.
second, all of a sudden that number drops to like almost nothing.
Oh, yeah.
Because they added the 18 and 19-year-olds. Those aren't children; those are legal adults.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's an issue, and
It's
you can always kind of
It's a manipulation because the number is a teen number still.
yeah. And so they try and, well, it's teen, so it's a child. And it's like, yes, I understand. Your brain's not fully developed till 25. The issue with that is, how old are you writing the article? Usually under the age of 25.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, right here, as mentioned on a previous appearance on Fox and Friends, O'Leary met with Governor Cox, President Stuart Adams, and Schultz in late 2025. O'Leary said, I got the team. I can raise the capital. Do you have the land? And they said 40,000 acres. So they already had a plan.
Oh, yeah.
They already had a plan for this area. And this is where it's going to be. And he apparently made his millions by 20 years old doing real estate, building houses. So he'd know,
Yeah.
oh,
So
having
the-
close by would be a great place to build
Yeah, the red rectangle at the bottom is the Stratos project,
part of it.
or part of it, not all of it, part of it. And then that yellow square, that area is where Speaker Schultz, his property is at.
Who knows? Might be houses close to the freeway, close to work. As you've discussed, they're not going to hire people from Utah. They're going to bring people
To be
outside
fair,
of Utah.
now to be fair, I did see a claim from him that he's been using it for cattle grazing. And he might be telling the truth. He might be like, oh, I want more land for cattle.
It's easy to
This is
cover.
going to go up in price real quick. Maybe I should buy it now instead of later.
But he has other areas
But
for the
There are
cattle.
better ways to buy, better places to buy cattle land.
There
You can go-
is. There's a lot better places to buy cattle.
You can
land.
go out by
Just
Bluebird
to try
and-
and give him some credit. It's possible he's like, well, this is going to go up in price. I might as well buy it now, so I still have it.
Yeah, no, there's obvious investment manipulation
Oh
there.
Oh yeah.
And again, he knows how to play the market because he's done real estate and he's seen the patterns.
What
and-
was it, babe? He was a millionaire by the age of 20?
In his
Yeah.
20s. He became a millionaire in his 20s.
In his 20s. Not by 20, but in his 20s.
in his 20s.
Yep.
And good for him as long as he did it.
No, he's obviously a smart
Legitimately.
businessman.
Well, there's a difference between a smart businessman and a legitimate businessman. Because you can either create the market manipulation or you can see it coming and adapt to it. That's what, good business people do.
I think he kind of did both.
In this case, he
Started
definitely
out
did the
that
first
way,
one.
then went to the other one.
I don't know. Like, you
So-
can see who he's related to if he's
That's
ever
true.
had, ties to other politicians who have made, market decisions. I mean, Utah.
A lot of people don't want to admit it, but there is kind of a genetic line of the ruling class.
Oh,
in
there
the
there
US.
very much is. Well, not just the U.S.
It's
Utah
like,
in general.
Well, it's like the movie industry. It's like you get a lot of people are actually the children of a lot of famous actors.
Yeah.
And it's kind of the same thing with a lot of politics because their family was already in it. It makes it easy to get in it.
And you get legacy families that make sense. It happens.
Mhm.
It's actually human nature to use your resources
Yeah.
and do that. The problem becomes when you foresee something magically and then buy acreage not too far away from it.
Yeah.
And which is not too close to it, just far away to put, say, how many homes would probably, how big was the acreage?
640.
640 acres?
Yes. And
Times that by
what did
4.
they do? Apartments?
If you're doing
If they do
houses,
if they do townhomes, then you're like, what? You're doing almost 10,000 people in that area at least.
yeah. If it's single family homes, basically times that by 4, and that's how many houses.
Yeah. And then it's not too close to the industrial area, which means all of the land in between it is going to be for, restaurants and strip malls and
Mm-hmm.
other
So-
infrastructure and things like that.
The
Yep.
Brookings Institute report published, it said the report noted that confidentiality agreements between developers and local officials made residents feel blindsided and at a disadvantage. The Salt Lake Tribune reported that at least one Stratos landowner told them they're already bound by a non-disclosure agreement barring them from discussing the deal's details.
Yeah.
So how many are there, you think?
Well,
Probably a bunch.
It makes me want to ban non-disclosure agreements.
Well,
Which
they're there
is
for
a huge step.
they're there for a very good reason.
I understand why they're there. But
I've actually used them a lot because my dad's got a few patents on stuff, and he's used them before, and I've used them in deals when I was doing work for people, and they saved my butt. I'm glad because otherwise they would have just been able to take it and go, "Oh, we're going to build this in China."
I'm not being serious about it. But
I know, but it's annoying because you can use certain laws to circumvent the law. And honestly, if you're thinking spiritually, what does Satan do? He uses the law, tweaks it just a little bit so it's okay, right? It's not necessarily moral, but it is legal.
Yeah.
But
So
I remember seeing it on, I don't remember which data center, but it said the people on the commission, they were bound by non-disclosure agreements when they were going through with the data center. So they couldn't talk about it to their constituents, and they were approving it behind closed doors.
see that is something else entirely. You should a
Elected
non-disclosure
officials should not be allowed to sign non-disclosure
unless it has
agreements.
to do with national,
National
security.
is it.
But in
But
this
this is
case,
the thing with the data center, though. They probably would try to use that national security apparatus idea.
well, if they wanted
to
to
do it.
start, they shouldn't because for one, Kevin O'Leary he's the one running it, and he is not a national. He's from a different country. So that national security would be, they'd have to read him into a lot of things that he wouldn't necessarily qualify for.
Yeah.
So, Schultz is not the only Utah elected official who appears to be holding land in that position.
See, and that's the problem right
Senator
there.
Scott Sandal.
Let's show the map here.
Right down here. 4
The
miles
red
away.
is the Stratos
center?
project,
Mhm.
Okay.
and then that land down there, that purple, is supposedly his land.
4 miles?
Yep.
Well,
See, Great Salt Lake.
that's
4
a bit,
miles is a long way, but
well, in Utah, yeah. I'm from California. 4 miles is around the block.
yeah.
But also here,
Well, it
And
takes like an
ABC
hour to get around the block in California.
ABC4 reported that when Sandal was asked whether anyone had approached him about selling, he said he had not been contacted, but that he would not be opposed to it for the right price.
Well, yeah.
So he's advertising that he's ready to sell, just offer him the right money. So that could expand.
Here's the thing,
Maybe some more.
this is what I was gonna say. Is 4 miles is kind of a long way, but that's the thing. It depends on the roads. If there's a road that just connects straight through there, then it's actually really close. It's very accessible.
And here it
too.
is.
Yeah, it's an 8-minute drive.
That's Schultz by this one. Sandals by this one.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yep.
Yeah,
So-
that there is a possibility that, I mean, there's a possibility it could be a coincidence. I doubt it.
It could be, but they could have also said, "Hey, build out here.
Well,
I'll be willing to
Sandals.
sell later."
Well, Sandals could be closer to where it's not so much corruption because he may have. I think he may already own that land a long time.
Yeah, if he owns it,
Farm and
if
ranch.
he's owned it for a while, then
Yeah,
that makes
I
sense.
believe he's owned it for a long time, and so he's just like, yeah, I'm willing to sell.
This
Which
is
also
Schultz.
makes sense because they're like, well, we know this area. This is a good area to have it in.
It's Schultz's that seems more
he bought
like
it beginning of last
corruption.
year.
Yeah, so the beginning of last year, that's a bit fishy. The other
Yes.
one, if he's owned it for a while, then
Yeah.
depends on how long they've been planning this. So it's been, what, a year and a half that they've been planning this?
maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even
I
want to
think
speculate
longer,
on that one.
honestly. I think
That
a lot
one's-
longer, honestly.
It could be coincidence.
But we also want to talk about the not very transparent black box that we have with our legislators a little bit.
Well, that as a delegate, I can tell you right now, that's an issue that we always have. So I've called several
Not
people up.
having to disclose what's in their holdings.
Yeah, so that we've already demanded some of those things, and they're like, well, no, we're protected because we're private citizens. Like once you work for the government, you're not a private citizen anymore.
Nope.
Like your life is, like I said, your life should
When
be an
you're
open
the
book.
ones helping write the laws, you don't have those privacy rights anymore.
Yeah, because then we can't see. There's no disclosure of, who's paying you and who's influencing you and things like that.
Or
Yeah.
what profits you're getting. So apparently, Utah's public disclosure system is supposed to work. Legislators file annual conflicts of interest forms so Utahns can see where private interest and public power might overlap. The idea is to make potential conflicts visible before decisions are made, not after everyone has already signed off and gone home. One of Schultz's disclosed entities is Mike Schultz Inc. Its listed description on his conflict of interest form is 2 words: holding company.
Yeah, it's general enough.
Nothing else. It won't tell you a single thing. So now you know his conflict of interest is with basically everything.
Mm-hmm.
You have to assume everything, so he shouldn't be in office.
Almost like Dr. Fauci's, what's his pardon. It says for any and all crimes committed between these dates. It's like, oh, okay, so he committed pedophilia.
Yeah, that's yeah. There's a lot of different things in those.
But Utah law, this is legal. I guess they say Republicans have created it.
No, they didn't.
So-
They didn't create this. This system was created by government. This is bipartisan, because you can look at any state and you can see the same thing. Like I said, the only difference is, as Republicans, we want to see it so we can stop it no matter where it is.
Yeah.
Generally, liberals and Democrats, when they see it in their state, as long as they're getting what they want, they're like, no, don't look at it. We don't want to know.
Or even if it's not saying no, don't look at it, they're like, we don't care.
We don't care. Yeah. So and
That's
that's
the voters, at least.
yeah. Well, that's the huge difference. Is I want to see it because I want to stop it. It's why I became a delegate. I became a delegate not because I wanted power and authority. I became a delegate because I wanted to make sure that the party was doing what it was supposed to.
Mhm.
Because when I read on Lincoln Fillmore, I saw that he was put in charge of the education. He was a chair on the education board in the in Utah.
Yeah.
He happened to own 3 companies that all dealt with education. All of them. He was a company that sold software and did their security, a company that did maintenance for buildings, and another company. And he had to step down from all 3 because there was a conflict of interest, and people's like, well, what's going on? Because you're making a crap ton of money off of this, and there are people who are underbidding you, and you're still getting the projects because you happen to be, on the
Making
board.
shots.
Well, not only that, he was the chairman of the board at the time.
Yeah.
So, and just as fishy, a 2024 investigation found that Schultz had 4 real estate entities missing from his disclosure entirely, and only added them after a reporter inquired. And his
I'm sure he just forgot
explanation-
about those.
His
Oh, yeah.
explanation
Real
was
convenient he forgot.
the oversight occurred because he no longer oversees the day-to-day operations.
Kind of like AOC's oversight when her net worth going from like 30 million
No,
or something
Ilhan
down to-
Omar, not AOC.
Ilhan Omar.
Yes.
Sorry, Ilhan Omar's net worth going from like 30 million down to like 90,000.
Yeah,
Because of the
AOC's
oversight.
went from bartender to multimillionaire in 2 years.
Yeah, freaking
As-
Ilhan Omar went and updated her net worth stuff, all of her investments and stuff. It was like 30 million, and all of a sudden it drops down to freaking 90,000. Like, okay, that's a little sketchy.
Yeah, there's lots of reasons you would do that. For one, getting loans so that you can not be taxed on money.
Mm-hmm.
So,
We were even debating talking about this one. I wasn't sure when the
Yeah.
Utah senator who smacked a camera out of ABC4 reporters.
yeah, we can just get rid of it, but it is Senator Jerry Stevenson, and he is on the META board.
Mhm.
And people are calling to boycott his nursery, which we're not going to worry about it. It's you choose where you want to do business. But apparently they reported to his nursery because of a lady going and verbally assaulting employees. And then he got mad that they were there recording. And he then issued them a trespassing thing after apologizing for hitting the phone out of hand.
I'm sorry. When you assault someone like that, you should not be allowed to trespass them.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Like, yeah, I get it.
trespass them first.
This
Please
is a
get off.
private. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, this is a private business. I get it, bro. But freaking heck.
And the news agency had been talking with the people over that, and they approved them to be there and to do a news story about it. And then he showed up, and it
Because the
kinda
news
went
story was going to be about this lady who was verbally berating staffers there because of this guy
Huh.
voting in favor of this project. And so they're going to report on that, which actually would have benefited him because it would have made him look good and his staffers look like the victim. Only for him to turn the news company into the victim.
Well, depends on the questions they ask. I've had
It's
people.
fair. That's fair.
I've had people interview me and then ask some really weird off the wall questions. It's like
Mhm.
that has nothing to do with what we're talking about. You said we were going to do this.
Yeah. Because they're probably fishing for
Yeah, they were
a
fishing for
specific phrase.
So this one's a major concern. He is on the board as well. Stuart Adams. His PAC raked in $135,000 from Meta-connected donors days after approving the data center.
Yeah, you're preaching to the choir on these, because when it comes to land development and Utah, like, it's so corrupt, right? We have what, 3 major developers in this state.
I think it's 4.
Is it 4? Because I think 3, because one of them's owned by an umbrella company that owns the other one too.
Oh, okay.
But
So,
we're also
one does
covering
commercial,
So
these
3 or
for our
4 might be a
viewers.
technicality.
We're also covering this stuff for our viewers in
That's
case
true.
they don't
That's
know.
true.
3 or 4 might just be a technicality.
Yeah, and that's like Ivory Homes is one of the worst. You go to an Ivory Home, they're falling apart. My parents own an Ivory Home.
They're terrible.
They're terrible.
Arrive homes suck too.
Arrive
My mom
homes are
has
just
an
as
Arrive
bad.
That's
home.
why I'm happy we built our house ourselves for that self-help home programs, because I did construction. I know what to look for. And so it was like when we were building this, I knew what I was doing, but also what to look for to make sure we're doing it right.
So if you guys are not afraid of hard work, look up a sweat equity home building program in your state and location. It's worth it. Just work your butt off.
Yeah. Liberals are allergic to hard work, so statistically they're going to be conservative, your neighbors.
So right here, 7 days after a powerful state authority chaired by Utah Senate President Stuart Adams signed off on a controversial 40,000 acre data center, 5 companies and individuals dropped $135,000 into his political
5.
action committee.
Yeah.
5. 2 of them were like owned by the same person.
That's something else I would like to get rid of, is donors.
Yeah.
Like, if you can't afford to do it, like a lot of people are, if you can't afford to do it, then only the rich people will be able to, run for office. It's like, or you make it so that you don't
You have
have
a
to
set-
pay.
Either don't have to pay or there's a set budget from the state for every candidate.
Yeah, that causes problems too, because then you've got the state actually paying for everybody's campaign. It would be interesting, because it would prove who can run money the best.
It's true.
Like, oh, you have $100,000 to run your campaign. Do it any way you want. Here's the stipulations. Prove to us that you can manage $100,000 before we allow you to run
Yeah.
$100 million a year.
But then also, it's like all you got to do then is just say, hey, all news agencies have to give equal opportunity coverage for each candidate. So it's like if you give this much time on air for this candidate, then the other candidates all have to receive that same
Oh,
amount
that's
of
still
time.
going to be misused. It's still so going to be.
It's still
There's
gonna
no
be
such thing as a
misused.
perfect system.
There's
It's sad.
no, you're right.
It's sad.
We can at least try to have a system that allows for the competition to
No,
exist.
I agree.
So, these 5 large contributions that Adams' leadership PAC has reported in its 6-year history, these are the 5 largest. They've never received any bigger. And they got them May 1st. Meta approved the data center on April 24th. Very big coincidence.
Which
and
may have been illegal.
here they are. Jacobson Construction Company, $40,000. Clausen General Contracting, $25,000. Tyler and Jennifer Aldous, $25,000. Gershon or Gary Isla Barnett, $25,000, and Copper Key Electrical Solutions, $20,000. And this is what projects they have with Meta.
Yep.
Deer Valley, Wasatch County project, Jordanelle.
Sounds like a lot
Deer
of
Valley,
back scratching.
which I think Deer Valley and
that's how
Jordanelle
politics works.
are the same area. So, Deer Valley. So they're all from that area of contracts that Meta's done.
And who do you think's going to get the jobs? I mean, that's the way it works. They back scratch all the time, and it's sad. And again, I'm of the mind that government should treat economics like religion, right? You
Separate them.
separate them as much as humanly possible.
So, next one. This just shows where,
All those properties are.
Yeah.
and this is Schultz. He has down here as well as up here.
The bigger one in the south, he's probably had for a long time.
Yeah. And this is Sandal Farm. They probably had it for some long time, but it's kind of questionable about these.
Having 3 of them in the same area. I mean, so scroll out for a bit. Keep going. Yeah. So that's a lot of area.
Oh, yeah. It's a lot of freaking
And keep in
land.
mind for your viewers, there really is nothing east except for a giant.
Salt.
Well, it's there's
Plateau.
salt plateau right there, but you've got all the nuclear waste that is deposited in the
Oh, yeah.
northwestern area of the state. So I mean, they own a lot of land.
Mm-hmm.
Just those couple of people. Yep.
Yeah, it goes down to goes to legacy again.
Mhm.
Scroll down just a bit. I'm curious. Yeah. The sad thing is, it is really the best place to put that dang thing. It really is.
I don't know. Over here would have been better. Nothing.
Well, most of that's state land, or no, federal land.
Yeah. There's a lot of that as federal land.
That's the problem with 60% of the state, 80% of the state is federal land, something ridiculous like that. I think it's 60%.
Unconstitutionally seized.
Well, that's the West Coast. There's almost nothing in the East Coast that's federal land except
Yeah.
for D.C.
All of it's completely illegally held.
And there it is. The House Speaker owns 25,000 acres, and that's that expanded land that we were showing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
25,000 acres.
that's a lot of acreage.
Yeah, it is.
And so this one here, this small one, is the one he bought at the beginning of last year. But he's
Putting
the
it
one
into
that possibly
perspective, it's
met
not
with
a lot of
O'Leary.
land.
Oh,
That's
wait a
the
minute.
question.
By chance, where's the gas line?
I don't know.
I believe
just,
it's on the north side of the property, going across the state.
I'm not sure. It's just around.
Well, don't we have one coming through Idaho?
It might be part of that same one. Just open up a new tab.
I'm just curious where it runs.
Rose Pipeline.
I think it's Ruby.
Is it Ruby Pipeline? Runs right across the top there.
Logan.
Look at where it is compared to that land.
Open up a map of it.
So Logan is here,
Yeah,
and
but it dips up, right?
it dips down below Logan.
It dips down below Logan,
Then
but
it
it dips
goes
up
up.
right there, right through where it's going to go, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So
And they're going to need to lay new pipes.
Most likely.
I mean, they're going to need to lay new pipes because there's no way they're pumping that much natural gas.
Not with that thing. If this is the most efficient natural gas facility that they're going to be building, they might get away with
There it is.
this one
So-
pipeline itself.
there's the Great Salt Lake.
Look where it is.
That's why it's there. It's
Look where the land is.
right here.
Mhm.
The tip of the Great Salt Lake. It's barely a little bit away from it.
It's on top of it.
So right here.
They might have to lay new pipes along.
I wonder, power plant, data center. That might be why these two are separate.
Well, yeah.
Because if you have the most efficient gas pipeline or most efficient gas power plant, you need 100% of that 48-inch pipeline of natural gas to be able to supply it to make the 9 gigawatts. If it's the most efficient,
Yeah, and it's not going to be.
it's not going to
They're
be.
going to
but
have to
that's
lay new
if it
pipe.
is.
They've even talked about laying new pipe. They have to increase infrastructure
They
in order
have
to
to.
get power.
They have.
They absolutely are going to have to do that. So, but look what that pipe is running, and look at where all those guys own land.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to have junction stations. They're going to have runoff stations. They're going to have. I'm just curious.
That's why they're saying some
What
of
do you mean
them,
runoff stations?
specifically Schultz, he bought
Lead
that
offs.
land over there.
Just in case a pipe burst.
Oh.
He might have
normally they don't
purposely
have to.
bought it because
I
he's
would.
done real estate.
Because what
They
they
kinda
do
do
now, a lot of the times they'll
That's
have pigs that they send through,
Uh-huh.
and they can oftentimes just have it seal right where the pig will stop and seal it right
Oh,
there.
so they don't do any blowout stations.
And so what they can do a lot of times now is that pig goes in, seals it off, so now gas isn't coming out, and then they can go in, dig it up, fix it, and then the pig can be pushed the rest of the way through. That's one way of doing it. But the pigs they got amazing pigs they can throw through these pipelines now where it's got so much tech in it, so it can find every little leak, every little blemish in the pipe. They know all the issues going through when it does a full inspection.
Yeah, it's scary what they can do.
It's great because it's like for me as a pipe layer, if we go to fix a pipeline like this, that pig will tell us exactly where it's at. So we'll know where we're digging, we'll know what we're looking for, and we'll know what side of the pipe it's on. So there's no questions. We know what we're doing. We're getting in there. Compared to like a lot of old pipelines, we're digging blind. We have no clue what we're looking for. No clue what if it's gonna. Sometimes it's an old clay pipe. Sometimes it's an old cement pipe. We don't know what we're looking for half the time.
Okay. This article's not
Gosh,
very
clay pipes.
useful, so we're gonna skip it.
The real cool ones are the wood pipes.
What?
Yeah, late pioneer days, wood pipes.
For gas?
No, for water.
Oh, okay.
But whenever we come across the wood pipes, we're supposed to contact an archaeologist for it because they they look into it and they sometimes preserve it for museums.
Oh my goodness gracious. Well, they have paper. They have those paper pipes, water pipes.
So
Hmm.
They're just nuts. I'd rather have terracotta than paper. Or like cardboard.
Yeah.
So here's a post of the meeting by the county commissioners on April 22nd. So they are holding a meeting about the hyperscale data center. And at the end of this, there is a video. And that is a live video of that meeting with the county commissioners. And it mentions here that they never said data center the whole entire time. They kept saying META and Stratos project.
Yeah, I think I told
They
you
were trying to
before
be sneaky.
when we were reading into this, the more and more we read, the more it sounded like the county was kept completely in the dark
And right here,
and had no idea what was going on
It
until
says-
after they already voted.
Wait, they voted for
11:48
something
or
that they didn't
11:46.
They knew it was a Stratos project. They may not have known it was a data center.
yeah.
What else would it be?
So right here, minutes, 11:46.
city?
These are old guys. What do you expect?
A city. We just want to put a city here.
Yeah, so Kyle, 11:46, that's the time, I guess, starting. Interlock agreement between Box Elder County and META relating to the Stratos project area. And then 11:48, 2 minutes later, resolution. They wanted to just get it pushed through. They only gave like 2 minutes to kind of discuss it.
Yeah,
On this.
if it's META, they're. I want to know how they're getting away with it because
I don't think none of us knew about META until this.
Well,
I didn't even know META existed until the data center project.
yeah. Well, it's an interesting organization.
Sounds like we need to abolish it.
Well, it's been useful. I mean,
I think it's outlived its use now.
yeah, that's what people say a lot of military. They tried to get rid of the Marine Corps, not too.
Well, yeah.
It's
No, I'm
outlived
fine
its
with
usefulness,
keeping the military. This particular agency probably needs to be shut down.
or at least heavily audited.
There you go. At least audited.
Well, call Hexeth. It's his. It's under his purview, right? Like, I get
Well,
why
that's federal
we need.
though. This is state.
That's true. Well, it's still. It's still part of the military, isn't it?
No, META is a state agency, a Utah state agency.
I thought it was run by the grant between National Guard and the state.
Don't think so.
Oh.
I think it's the META. A lot of the council is members of our legislators.
Huh.
So, right here, apparently, I guess in this meeting,
Or no, it's not members of legislators. Like they're friends.
so Kyle, at this meeting with the commissioners, the only people in the room appeared to be META, the developer, and landowners brought in by the developer. It was obviously assumed that everyone inside the meeting knew what the project was about because the executive director of META never once mentioned the term data center while describing the project to the commission. No one in the general public would have been aware of what this name meant at the time of the meeting or leading up to the meeting. It wasn't until Friday, 2 days after the meeting, that it was announced that this project was under consideration and that it meant for the rest of the county and the state. To me, that's a clear violation of the Utah Open and Public Meetings Act, which requires those things. And it's not fair that the only people in the room to provide comment were those already connected by the developer. Now, the Box Elder County Commission is going to hold a vote Monday morning, but they delayed that by a week because they found out it was a data center. And that's,
Well,
why,
no.
that's why they delayed
They
it.
didn't delay it a week because they found it was a data center. They delayed it a week because the amount of backlash they got initially. They're like, okay, hold on. We're going to hold off for a week. And then we found out it was a data center. And then they went and voted on it.
It's an interesting organization.
Trying to check the calendar.
Mita?
What day was it exactly?
Yeah.
Like, the idea I don't have a problem with. An organization that's basically based, or its purpose is to help develop military resources in Utah.
So,
Yeah,
Kyle.
but which means that this is being considered a national security military resource.
Exactly.
So the 22nd, Kyle, was a Wednesday. They're supposed to be voting on Monday, the 27th, and they pushed it back a week because
And we have
they
a
needed to
foreigner
research
involved with it. a Canadian nonetheless, which is the worst kind of foreigner.
Well, they're also
Well, besides like
technically a part of
Eastern-
NATO, so
besides a Chi-Com or Middle Eastern.
You already said
terrorist. Wow, Chi-Com.
I'm sorry, I love my brothers and sisters in Alberta.
I have friends in Canada, but
No. Alberta is a beautiful place. They
Yeah.
are holding strong.
well, to be fair, most of the people I know, no, all the people I know in Canada are either Alberta or British Columbia.
Yeah. People in Alberta know that people from Utah, we're one and the same for a lot of reasons. Can't stand our federal government in most cases.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
Hit that next tab.
and this one is just a video recording in case anyone ever wants to see it. But like I said, it's here and underneath this person. So the next article we're going to look at is the commissioners. I've never felt this threatened.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel bad for the commissioners because to me it looks like they got kept in the dark and now they got threats against them and a lot of crap. Just a lot of backlash when, to be fair, it seemed like they were kept in the dark.
Well, at first you thought one of them might be in on it, but when we look at the timeline, this was brought to their agenda the 22nd. The META board approved it the 24th, and that's when it was revealed to the public. And then it's just going like, what in the world happened?
Yeah, I have a problem with them not reading into what they're voting on. That's
Oh,
what's
I
scaring
agree.
me right now. It's like,
Absolutely
wait, if you
agree.
didn't know anything about it, then I have a project I want you guys to approve.
Well, that's the thing is like a lot of people, these are older guys, and a lot of them they're kind of caught in that framework that if it's the military, they're working on a project to help protect our country. We don't want to stop that.
Well, he says, we've looked at it and we feel like this is the only possible avenue to protect our citizens. We wouldn't ever want to do any harm to them. But I've read some articles hinting that if they went against this, they were not going to get the tax revenue, that they were going to withhold it or do something else.
Yeah.
But I think they were also threatening it because META had to get the county's approval. So I think they were threatening them as much as they could, saying, you have to do this, you have no choice.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, there's a reason I dropped out of the city council. And it's funny, we had a conversation. They're like, well, because we're all in this meeting. You sit in this meeting, and these are all the things you can and cannot do. I was sitting, and there were two other councilmen there, and they were asking, so, what kind of things do you like to do? And you were getting this very clear picture of we play as a team. And I'm looking at them, and I flat out tell them, I'm not your team member. I'm either opposed to you or agree with you as long as it's best for my constituents.
Mhm.
That's why I was running. We got a great woman in. I dropped out because her and I had this agreement of, we don't want to do a runoff. We don't want to do a general election. It's not good for either of us because we were both running against this other gentleman who was a developer. He literally was a developer who wanted to develop our area. And
So it was a choice between you and her, and you chose her.
I chose her because she knew a lot more people.
Okay.
Okay.
More connections.
She had a
would be
lot
helpful.
more connections. She knew everybody in the city. And she calls every once in a while. Can I trust this person? Can I do this? She's great. She's absolutely awesome. I'm going to vote for her again when it comes in. But I'm the type of person that when they go, we want to increase taxes. No. Well, can we convince you? No way in hell.
No.
No. Like you can, I will
Your
just.
population's going up. Your taxes are already increasing. Shut up.
Yeah. Well, I'm the type of person who's like, we need to pass this. No. Well, we need this for this. Like, no, we don't. We don't need
The
it.
Constitution, as it was originally drafted, was designed to make it hard to pass laws. That was the whole point.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like there were times in our history where the Senate didn't even have enough senators elected in their states, and they couldn't even form a quorum.
Yep.
That was the whole point.
It should be difficult to pass. It should be very easy to get rid of certain things. It's supposed to be a slow process. It's meant to be a slow, arduous, difficult process. Not this. Not, we can ram it through before anybody notices and wonder why the people are pissed off.
Mm-hmm.
And do I think data centers are useful? Yes. They're absolutely necessary for what we're doing.
Yeah.
They're absolutely necessary. And I know a lot of people are very anti-AI, and I know a lot of people are very, what if it becomes self-aware?
And here's the thing: if they force it through like this, they're gonna create an entire generation of Luddites.
Yeah.
And that's not necessarily a good thing.
No, I don't agree with that. If we have transparency, we're less likely to have a problem. That land is, honestly, if you've ever been up there, there's almost nothing there. When people say, oh, we graze cattle in that area, we do this, I understand that. It's not the best place to graze cattle with.
No.
It's probably cheaper, honestly, to buy hay. Right? Because that area is barren.
Yeah.
It is bad.
Very barren,
Like,
not a lot of grass.
So
there.
for people who might do cattle and not in Utah, Missouri, for instance, you can have 2 cows on an acre. It's 2 acres to the cow here in Utah, and that's you still have to buy hay on those 2 acres because what grows here doesn't feed them very well, right? And you can only have Herefords and Holsteins really in this state. I mean, Black Angus are okay in Texas. Texas Longhorns will survive, but Herefords and Holsteins are the ones that everybody picks out here mostly because
they do better.
They do a lot better in the cold weather, right? Highland cows don't do well in the heat, even though we do have
up there where you go. You're not too far away from the Peter Sings.
Yeah, and
So,
go ahead.
what do you guys think here? Preti said he believes the decision gives the county a seat at the table of discussion for the proposed data center. He added that the county had actual little pull in the conversation due to the fact that the proposed land is on private property because it has private water rights and because it is not zoned.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about that?
It honestly, if it's that way,
That's the thing is, I think what ended up happening is they realized that if they don't vote in favor of it, it's going to get crammed through without them. But if they vote in favor, then they get brought onto the table and they can help make decisions.
yeah, I think,
And at least have influence.
I think the decisions they should make now are making sure that it is transparent.
Yeah.
I'm not saying if you don't want it, don't fight against it. Sure, if you don't want it, if the county doesn't want it, the county doesn't get it. Like if the people of the county say no, right, they should to certain things. Okay, if it's their property, if they buy the property, they want to build something on there, that's great, right? They should be able to build something on there. However, if they're drawing a certain amount of water, or they're drawing a certain amount of electricity, or they're doing a certain amount of something, that does require county approval.
Yeah,
because
you're going to affect your neighbors.
Well, it's not just you're going to affect your neighbors, it's you're drawing infrastructure in the system itself, right? So in this might be a little interesting backwards when it comes to how land works, at least for me. If I own my land, I should be able to do whatever I want with it. If I want to draw a giant space alien on there and say, well, come land here, I should be able to do that, and people should say, oh, okay, whatever, he's doing that.
Yeah.
Same thing with my property in Provo, right? If I don't want grass, don't make me get grass. We're in a drought anyway. I'm not watering my lawn. I'm sorry, I'm letting
Provo
it die.
does require you to have grass, doesn't it?
50% of my front yard, including my driveway, must be greenery or ground cover.
I guess.
Not,
Sagebrush is ground cover.
but not xeriscape. I must have an irrigation system, is what they said. Or not an irrigation. I must have a way to.
Sagebrush count as ground cover.
As long as it's green and alive.
Sage is a shade of green.
Yeah, no. So I have a problem with people telling me I'm going to buy land, I'm going to do this. Where it comes into play is when you tap into the infrastructure and start messing with the infrastructure. You can't draw more infrastructure than is available. For one, it's not going to be good for you, right? So that's where the county comes in and says, okay, we all need to sit down and plan. Like, they can build whatever they want. I don't care, right? If they start dumping illegally, there's already dumping laws. There's already pollution laws, right?
Yeah.
It should be the same for a company as it is for me. If I litter, right, I should be fined. If
I got a trash bag in my garage of litter that's blown into my yard from McDonald's.
If I dump sewage onto onto the street, I'm going to get in trouble. The same thing should go for a large company like this.
I'm collecting it to take to the city.
To take to the city because of McDonald's.
They're the ones that approved the McDonald's.
Well, and again, there's that problem. You have this McDonald's, which is not causing the problem, but is the cause of the problem. Right? It's individuals who are littering that's the problem, right? So what are they going to do? They can try to prevent it, which isn't going to work very well because you can't prevent things like that.
Build the wall.
Build the wall.
Like, that's the thing is, like, between my neighbor, I'm Elijah, we got that wall between the Dollar Tree and his yard. just continue it. And it catches all of it in the corners with that wind, and we're good.
Yeah.
It stays on their property.
See, and that's communication between you and your neighbors, and okay, we have this problem, we're going to get together. That's the way it's supposed to be. Like, I had my neighbor lady. I think I told you this story last time. My neighbor lady, she thought she owned 6 inches of my property. And so she's like, well, if you take down your fence, I'm going to take 6 inches of your property, because that's where the property line is. And I'm looking at it and going, well, yeah, but that means that the city owns 6 inches of my property on the other side, or I own 6 inches of the sidewalk. Your neighbor on the other side owns 6 inches of your property. Like, the whole county property line was shifted over 6 inches.
Really?
But the reason she wanted it is because she wanted a parking space, right? She wanted
an extra 6 inches.
An extra 6 inches would allow her to park 2 cars side by side for her tenants who live there. And so, when I finally found this out, it took years to get her to talk to me. When I finally found this out, we're talking to her about it, and she goes, well, that's what we want. We want a parking space because we can't park on the street, because Provo laws say tenants cannot park on the streets. So I'm like, well, I have an open parking space on my property that I do not use at all, ever. I've never used it in 9 years.
Yeah.
And she goes, well, are you going to turn it over to me? It's like, no, your tenants can use it. Well, can I get it in writing? No. Just use it. It's like, it's that easy. It's this, I'm not going to screw you over as long as we have...
Just communicate.
Just communicate.
Just communicate.
It's that easy. And you know what? She sold the property, and now the new guys. I went over once the guy came over, or went over to the house and he was fixing it up. I was like, by the way, I have this extra parking space for your tenants. They're allowed to use it just as much. You can tell them that. And he's like, really? I'm like, yeah, I never use it. Ever. Not once. And if I need to use it, I will tell you. Right? And it'll be over for a day. I have 2 cars.
Yeah.
That's it. So that's how it's supposed to work. That's how the government is supposed to facilitate, is they set the standards, right? Which should be reasonable, and they're not right now. We don't need 600 new sets of legislation. And then you communicate with your neighbors if you have a problem, right? So what Kevin O'Leary should do is communicate with his new neighbors and say, look, this is what we're going to do. This new data center, and I'm sure he's afraid of religious nut jobs in Utah, because there are some really interesting extremists out here.
There are some, but the whole state is typically portrayed as one.
Well, which is funny because, again, in Silicon Slopes and one of the most tech-oriented states there is, I mean, the IT department in this state is insane.
I guess the LDS live up to the name of being nerds.
Yeah, well, definitely big nerds, especially since, was it Stanley? This is the only con he would come to after Comic-Con, because he's like, I'm done with all the other cons, I'll only go to Utah.
Really?
Yeah.
Why? Just like the fans here more?
We loved the fans here more because, for one, they wore clothes.
That's fair.
And two, they were more into the stories than they were into everything else. So,
and that's what he liked, was the stories.
That's what he liked.
Which is why...
He could relate to more.
But that's the difference between Marvel and DC. We'll go into that in a second. Is the Marvel, there was a lot more into the stories and the character development than DC originally.
Yeah.
DC caught up to him, but...
In some ways, they still have a different feel. But yeah, it's a matter of what people are afraid of, and we are lacking in communication. And so when communication breaks down, you start getting resistance. And resistance, I'm not saying it's going to in this case, most likely not going to. But
it's Utah.
Yeah, Utahns when you tell them they're done, they're usually done. But it eventually can turn into violence in some cases if you start pushing and don't tell people what you're doing. So yeah, the data center has a right to build, but in order to get access to all of the other resources that the state has, that's when you need county and city and state approval.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's what it's supposed to be.
So, right here, apparently, when we found out is when Meta came to us, and they were very, very sheepish, and were very apologetic about the fact that we were not brought in way earlier. That's what Perry said about Meta.
Yeah,
Thank you.
What do you think about that? That Meta was very, very sheepish, and sorry, we didn't bring you guys in sooner. They were trying to be sneaky. And down here, Perry said that he received a number of calls from local legislators in the weeks leading up to the vote, emphasizing that the partnership with Meta would be a good decision for the entire state of Utah. My question is, are they the landowners for that project area? And is that why they wanted it to go through?
Well, you can see who the landowners were. I mean, there's a good chance the land was owned by
Family members of theirs, at least, because the
possible.
local legislators. Which local legislators were saying it's a good idea? You need to go through with it.
Yeah.
It's a lot of. There's actually a good chance that the land was actually owned by a large company, because that's sadly a lot of the land that we have now in Utah is owned by larger companies to be developed. Like all the land that's on the. So I was once going to buy 2 acres on the other side of Utah Lake, and it was $19,000 an acre, cash, cheap as you can imagine. And so I was like, I want to buy this land, and then they told me, well, it's not zoned for housing. I don't care what it's zoned for. I'm going to build something on it. Well, you can't build something on it because it's not set up for housing. It's half a mile.
You didn't say housing.
What?
Yeah, you didn't say
Well,
housing.
I did. I said I want to build a house there.
Oh, okay.
And it's like, well, it's not zoned for that. It's an investment property. I'm like, it's property. I should be
For
able to
what?
do something with it, right? And so I ended up calling the county, and they're like, well, no, it's not zoned. It's zoned for agricultural right now. I'm like, agricultural means I can build a house on it. Yes,
Yeah.
but you have to run pipes. You have to run electrical. You have to be on the grid. You have to do all this. I'm like, why is this? What
It's
is
ridiculous.
So I looked into it, and it was going to be $90,000 just to get the approvals. I haven't done anything physical yet. That's not including the property price. $90,000 in approvals just to get the okay to build, to put a cable that's going to run along the road for like 9 miles, which is going to cost me millions of dollars, right? I mean, it's ridiculous. And I was also fine. I'll do solar, right? Solar was going to cost me $50,000. No, I still have to be connected in some way.
That's one thing we need to fix. Is we need
a homestead law.
What?
We need a homestead law.
We need a new one. We have some homesteading laws, but nothing specific, right?
We need one that actually protects homesteading is what we need. So that we can build whatever we want, wherever we want. So when you get 10 homes at the same time, you'll all go, okay, well, it would be nice to be connected to sewage. And so you all pitch in and go in sewage.
So
Yeah.
Kyle,
Or make one your own big septic system.
Representative Thomas Peterson, and Senator Scott Sandall, who owns land, and represent the area, Perry said they reached out to share their belief that the data center would be a good thing
I'm sure it would be a good thing.
because they want the property values to go up and then make money by selling it or building on it.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. Again, the data center, regardless of if you believe it's going to be good or bad, it's going to change the demographic of the area.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, you're going to get construction out there, which means it's probably a good idea to start building now in that area for certain things, right? Once somebody gets the okay to do it, they're going
Because
to...
costs are lower right now.
Because the costs are lower right now. So while you're building this data center, you've also got these construction groups up there who can also build other things up there too. Right? They're going to it's going to require an entire city in order to run this thing, even though they claim it's only going to be 2,000, employees. That means that's 2,000 employees plus families.
Yep.
Which
Yep.
is usually, in Utah, that's 1.3 other people. So it's you, your wife, and then 1.3 other people on average in Utah. I think the state or the country average is 1.1. But it's going to change things, and it could be you're going to get a city up there. That's great. It's also not great because that means you're putting a city in the middle of a desert. It's going to require more water. Salt Lake is
that's
a
not
salt
the
lake.
first time we've done that in Utah.
No, it's not. I mean, there's actually a program.
If anyone knows how to do it, it's Utah.
There's actually a program that actually put out and did each of the states, and was seriously asked the question, why does Utah even exist? Why did people settle here? And they went into depth. I mean, this was a non-LDS program. They did a really good job, too. They went to the back and forth between the federal government and the state of Utah. They went into the state of Utah, sent troops during the Mexican-American War, right? And then the federal government sent troops into the state of Utah, like, you're going to be rebellious. It's like, no. So, I mean, it's
the Civil War. I just think our troops didn't make it in time before it ended.
The Civil War?
Yeah.
I have no idea about
I
it.
believe we sent some troops for the Civil War.
They didn't
But
make it for the Mexican American.
Maybe it was that one then.
Yeah, the Mormon Battalion.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mormon Battalion went
They went
from
for the Mexican-American War.
yeah.
But then they didn't even make it there in time. The war was over by the time they got there.
No, but you know what they did do? They built the first buildings in Redlands, San Bernardino area, San Diego, Los Angeles. Then they started the gold rush, which pretty much built California, which also at the same time built Utah, because Utah was the stop-off point.
Halfway.
Halfway.
Yep.
Well, not even halfway. It's
Oh
closer.
yeah, not halfway.
Before
but
you
it's-
went through the mountains.
It's the midway place between the two.
Yeah. So I mean,
especially with Gold Spike.
yeah. I mean, Utah helped build the West. I'm not saying it built the West. I'm saying it helped build the West.
So, any idea
And we
how
were the
Mita-
hideout for all the outlaws.
A lot of them.
We had a
disappeared.
natural distrust for federal government, and so we didn't talk when the outlaws came and hid here.
That's true.
So, question: how do you think Mita gets their money from the state, and how else?
Probably
Maybe.
from the military eventually.
Well, 'cause
Nope.
I just noticed this right here, Kyle. Any money that it produces, the data center produces through Mita, can be used for any of our 27 National Guard armories throughout the state. So there's a component there that they can use to benefit the military, the National Guards, as well as things as Hill Air Force Base. I guess they accrue revenue back from these kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
Because you and I were discussing that. How is Mita getting their
Which,
money?
to me, sounds like a major conflict of interest. Mita probably should not be getting funding from the projects it helps develop.
And Perry also pushed to clarify that the county did not vote to create a data center. They voted to partner with Mita. But I don't know if that's going to stop it.
In other
Actually,
words, they get a seat at the table.
If they get a half decent lawyer that can easily stop it, because if that's the case, if the vote, you can actually pull apart the vote to see exactly what they voted on. If they voted on that, then a half decent attorney would be able to rip that apart and say, "You guys didn't vote on that. You voted on this." So
Yeah.
now, of course, if Mita is given carte blanche control as partner,
Next time.
that's something entirely different. But
Yeah.
So, new law. Data centers have to report water usage.
But this law is kind of a double-edged sword. One, yeah, it requires them to report their water usage, but two, it restricts the state engineer on what he can, what turn down or
because it's considered national security.
no, I think because it's national security. It restricts what applications he can reject for water usage, but it's not. It doesn't have to do with national security. I don't know why. It restricts why he can reject certain.
Yeah, we'll get to
applications.
that. So when it comes to this proposed project in Box Elder County, they will have to report 90 days prior to construction what their estimated water use would look like, and then there's an annual report required.
Mm-hmm.
So they have to report, which we're not even hearing for sure how much they need. We
No.
heard supposedly 13,000 acre feet.
1,900 acre feet.
Well, it was
That was
13,
well. The first one was 1,900 acre
but
feet.
total they want 13,000 when it's
They
full
claim they
build out.
want 13,000. Yeah, we'll see.
That's a lot of water.
Mm-hmm.
Did they give billions of gallons of water
Mm-hmm.
So there's not much information
It was
about
like
it.
6 billion gallons of water.
annually?
Yeah.
It's a lot of water.
So how the new water law will affect them. So it's HB 60 if we need to look it up for some more information. It limits the reasons the state engineer can deny a water rights application.
Yeah, there it is.
Yep, it limits
Jeez.
him. So it could make it easier for the backers of the proposed data center to secure the water rights they need.
Yeah.
So it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah, it's a catch-22.
That is well, that's like the Federal Reserve. Yeah, you can totally do this stuff, but you can't tell us what not to do.
So the bill's
Yep.
main purpose was to limit how many complaints the state engineer had to review while still protecting the public's right to complain against water right applications.
Yeah, on that note, water rights. What's those water rights?
You have to pay a $15
protest.
for fee.
A $15
time.
fee should be refunded if they withdraw their water rights application.
Yeah, so there's a difference between water rights and water shares. Are they only abusing water rights?
I don't know if they're.
Are they applying for water shares?
I believe they're applying. It's probably for water shares, but the articles may be saying rights.
But they're
Because
also,
there's a difference between the two.
But also, I think
Yeah.
the lands that they're buying have water shares.
Because water
to
rights
them,
is
so they're trying to
ownership
transfer
of the
it.
water.
Not all of them do. That's
Yeah,
the
but I
thing.
think some older
Because water
properties
rights
do.
is ownership of that water resource compared to water shares.
Water shares are ownership.
Oh,
water
those are
rights
ownership.
are the usage of the water.
So probably water rights then.
Yeah.
So if they're, but that's another thing to look at, is to see which properties around the area have water shares attached to them.
So
That's something else to look into.
So that's the sad part. Under the new law, the state engineer would be barred from denying an application based on reasons like the detriment to public welfare, as long as there is a regulatory agency better suited to make the call.
Which, that's all very broad.
Yeah, I would take this all with a grain of salt too, because what we really need to find is we need to look at the agreement, right? If there's an agreement that we can see, we need to look at the agreement and say, look, this part of the agreement we, as voters, we like, right? New jobs, whatever. Because at this point, if this stuff is going in, it's not going to be done for 10 years. That's long enough for all their kids to get, like I said, electrical engineering degrees and get electrician work done and become linemen and do all this. That will increase the area, and that will guarantee jobs for the area as long as the citizens are told these are the jobs they're going to open up with the data center.
My problem is they could be like the railroad, where you need connections to get in. You never have a chance of getting in unless you have a connection. My problem is that's what they probably do there.
And again, that's why you allow the voters to help negotiate. That's the county's job, right? Is you want these resources. We want our voters, our constituents, to have access to these jobs, right? To at least get first pick because they're in the area, and that's what they want. So it's always hard when you're turning a rural area into an urban area, or in this case, I would almost call this an industrial area.
Yeah.
Because you're changing the demographic and how people think and see the area. I've got friends who do cattle in northern Utah, right? They've done cattle in Evanston, or not Evanston, that's southern Wyoming. But let's see, what's it called? It's Woodruff, in Woodruff, Utah. A friend of mine ran cattle through his family for generations and generations. And it's hard in Utah to raise cattle. It's super hard. There are easier places to do it, right? I'm not saying they shouldn't. What I'm saying is that you can take what your family has, and you can shift it towards something that can adapt to the area. If they are taking the water, then okay, why don't you give each of the property owners in that area a little bit of a share in this data center? There's going to be plenty to go around. There really is. Because these data centers are going to be trillions of dollars. It's going to be $1 trillion industry, easy. Right? I mean, SpaceX is already $2 trillion, and they haven't even tapped into that stuff yet. Yeah. I mean, they're barely running their telecommunications so far, right? And they're not making trillions of dollars. They're just valued at that because they're doing some cool stuff. These data centers are going to be able to do amazing things, terrifying things at the same time, but amazing things. And it's going to make a lot of money because it's going to make a lot of things easier. So all that production, all that energy that we talked about, we're making the system more efficient now, which means that it's making it more valuable because it can transfer energy from one state to another a lot quicker and a lot more easily. And that's what these data centers do. They just make it so that if you need legal advice, you can ask a computer, right? If you need a therapist, you can ask a computer. If you need artwork done, right? There was just a full length feature film done, a 90-minute film just recently done, entirely by AI.
Yeah,
I haven't seen it. It might not be that good, and Hollywood's literally shaking in their boots right now.
Even if it's still crappy, that's a major step forward.
It's insane. I watched a music video that I couldn't even tell was AI until one of the explosions happened. I'm like, wait a minute,
that's not right.
That wasn't quite right. I watched another YouTube video where the guy was actually blinking and he's talking, he's moving his hands, and the only reason I knew it was AI is because I saw he had a beard, and I saw the blur in the beard when he changed his head too much, and it was barely noticeable, right? It's going to change a lot of different industries. It's going to make a lot of things very accessible for the average person. It's going to make a lot of people more lazy. You know, it's going to make things more difficult when this is video for this court case. Is it admissible in court? Because it could be AI or not, right?
Yeah, it's going to present a lot of problems.
So we're going to have to adjust to this new thing. Now, a lot of people are scared of. When we were talking, you're not scared of it, but it worries you, and it kind of worries me too. Not for the same reason, but for what we can use it for.
Yeah.
Right. That scares me most because people have always used advantages to gain on others. In this case, you can use an AI system to predict things in ways that you normally can't.
Yeah, Tim Pool mentioned the biggest concern he has with AI when it comes to manipulating video footage is not necessarily that they'll go and change the entire thing of what someone said, but like the example of the very fine people on both sides hoax.
Yep.
Just adding in one word or changing one word is all that would be needed to change the whole context.
Yep.
And then that's what will get spread around. And so now you have two versions of the same thing that they're just close enough you can't tell the difference.
How about media accounts? You're creating media accounts that can push a narrative over and over and over again. You can make
AI can do it very effectively.
There was a TV show. What was it called? End of the world. Anybody under the age or over the age of 21 died from this virus. And it was an interesting show, and I can't remember what it was called. It had some big actors in it too, but they created their leader. He didn't exist. He was called Father, and he didn't exist. It was he was a facsimile, right? I'm not saying we're going that far, but you could create influencers that act perfectly, like based off of really successful influencers that look the part, that say the things that people want.
Yeah.
And you can control these people entirely. So now you've got influencers that you don't have to buy anymore. You can just create them. Right? And that sounds kind of dystopian, but I mean, look at the state of Great Britain. Right now they're living 1984.
Yeah, it's
right?
a nightmare.
It's crazy. In Canada, sadly, they're actually encouraging people to kill themselves because their medical system can't control it.
Yep.
And even here in the United States, we have
that's
problems.
the MAID program.
Yeah. Well, in the United States, we have issues with California. California is falling apart. And nobody's really, I mean, you've got elected officials trying to stop it, but the people there are just like, well, gas is over $9. Like, what are you doing about it?
And that's the thing, look at California compared to places like Utah or even New York. It's not not as expensive as California gas. It's uniquely a California issue.
And that's because of, taxes. But imagine if these individuals can gain influence through accounts, through social media, through even the manipulation of information, just like you said, just changing a single word, changing the perspective of something or the perception of something. That's what AI can do. And I'm not saying we need to just let everybody else do it, because we need to race people to make sure that we can adapt so that we can tell the difference between what is real and what is not. And in the last days, we're supposed to, have the spirit to be able to tell us what's real and what's not.
Yeah, we're going to need it more and more.
So, Kyle, your question was it? This is supposedly from HB60 to determine whether a proposed plan would not prove detrimental to the public welfare under subsection 1A III. The state engineer may only consider 1. The effect of the proposed data plan. A. The beneficial use of water. Or B. The quantity, quality, or availability of water. And 2. Other factors are specifically directed by statute. Doesn't give any information really.
Well, yeah, we'll have to see. That's kind of the problem is with a lot of this. We're going to have to kind of figure it out as it's happening, because there's so much about AI data centers we don't really know. No one truly knows how much it's going to affect our lives.
It's going to change. It's the new cell phone.
Let's get to that next tab.
It's like cell phones. It's like the internet. It's going to change things. You're going to be able to walk into your house and not just say, "Hey Siri." You're going to be able to walk in your house and say, "Hey, Siri, do my taxes, and it's going to do your taxes for you. It's going to change all information-based providers, programmers. Like now, people are looking for architects. They're not looking for programmers. They're not looking for code munchers anymore. They're looking for architects who can conceptualize something and then build it. And I use Grok to build several programs already, several apps.
Yeah.
And these are just basic web apps, like super simple. It took me 15 minutes to build them.
Dang.
And all I had to do was tell it what to do.
Yeah.
And it produced it. And I looked over it to look for any mistakes. And I have a program that shows me if there are any mistakes.
Mhm.
There's nothing. Just put it in and it works just how I want it. I tweak a few things, be more specific. It's kind of that point in Star Trek where it's, computer, generate.
Yes.
Yeah, generate. And they're on the holodeck. And they're like, generate a table that's, around 3 meters by 1 meter tall by 1 meter wide. And I'll generate a table. I'm like, okay, make it made of wood. Okay, it's made of wood.
Yeah.
That's where we are.
We're almost there, right?
Well, when it comes to designing,
Digital aspect, we're pretty much there.
well, digital aspect, we're there because my mother, she makes these minis, right? And she's like, okay, I want to put this 3D image in here. I want to make this mini of this plate. So she had the plate, took a picture of it, gave it to an AI. The AI generated a 3D image of that plate,
Nice.
and then she was able to 3D print it from an STL file.
Gosh dang.
So we are there. It's like,
Well, we're almost there. The difference is they would just say computer generate that versus now it's like we still got to take it from file here, put file over there, and then it prints.
yeah. But with these data centers, as they increase, you'll be able to it'll be able to handle more commands. You'll be
Yeah.
able to say generate this and then 3D print it.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got 3D printed jet engines or rocket engines. Those are really cool because they're very organic, they're very efficient, and they run really, really well.
That's cool.
So they're really neat. And so yeah, we can use these things for some amazing stuff, but at the same time, just like everything else, TV, cell phone, we can use them for terrible things.
Okay, back up to the top. So, what was this? 2,300
This is the
protest
first.
filings. This was for the first water rights application they did.
Yep.
2,300 protest filings, and then they went and they frickin' withdrew their filing,
Yep.
which I think that money should all be refunded. It's $15 to put in a protest filing.
The
Yeah.
first application was by Bar H Ranch, and the application shows the water will be primarily used for power generation at the natural gas plant, with some going to the data center. So most of this application, the water.
100% going to data center because it's all the power plant's for the data center.
Yeah.
Technically,
And
yeah.
The application states there will be no consumptive loss for the Saltwell stream, which is the source of this water right, but Dubac is skeptical, noting that it's a direct tributary of the Great Salt Lake.
Yeah.
So they're taking the water to be like, we're not going to be affecting the Great Salt Lake. Yes, you will. You're taking from the stream that goes straight to the Great Salt Lake.
Yeah.
So
It's like cutting off the Missouri River, saying it's not going to affect the Mississippi River.
yeah. And
They're
there's
both
a
big.
misunderstanding on what constitutes Great Salt Lake, said Dubac. A groundwater aquifer that feeds into the lake is absolutely critical to the lake.
Yeah.
So that's just part of this one. There's not a whole lot of stuff in this guy. This is the first protest. And like Stratos, Wonder Valley, that's what it's under. This was the original application number. And it just gives a little bit of information here about their
1,900
concerns.
acre feet.
How many billions of gallons did they say it was?
What do you mean billions of gallons?
Didn't they said it was going to use 9 billion gallons a year or something like that?
Well, that's the thing is they haven't really
It's
given that info.
300 and something gallons is 1 acre foot.
No. Let me.
No, they said it in the last article. It was like 9 billion gallons or something like that. In a previous article where they talked about water. I know it was on there because
Those might have been estimates by also some of the environmentalists, though, not necessarily an actual mathematical analysis.
Well, yeah, but I mean, the estimate 9 billion gallons would be a heck of a lot of water. I mean, See, Salt Lake uses what, 27 to 30 billion or something like that a year, and that's a decent amount. And they're talking about the power. I said before, 9 gigawatts is L.A.
Yeah.
The city of Los Angeles uses 9 gigawatts,
I
and
thought it was also New York, too.
New York,
One of those two big cities.
two big cities. L.A. is like what, the second largest city in the United States, and it uses 9 gigawatts. The Delta power plant supplies LA for like a third of its power. So we have a power plant that only gives a third of that to Los Angeles. It's funny how the power plant is in Utah and it's giving LA power, but and that's being converted to a natural gas.
$325,851 gallons per acre foot.
And how many acre feet are they doing?
1 acre foot
Just one?
is 325,000.
How many acre feet are they requiring?
1,900.
So multiply that by 1,900.
That's what I'm working on.
Yeah, I quickly glanced through the
325.
articles. I couldn't see an exact number, so it's somewhere else. It's not the ones we've gone through. at
Okay, so
least.
there's 19.
That's this one,
So
but
that's
here,
just that first application.
Okay, so 619 million for that first application.
That's that first one. So yeah.
So the so they're going to be using billions of gallons of water.
and that's a year.
If they manage to clean it up before they put it back, because they're going to have to put it back somewhere. If they manage to clean it up, because it's not it's a closed loop system, but it's not a closed loop system. They have to drain the water somewhere.
Maybe they'll just throw it in that toxic waste in the northern part of Utah you were talking about.
Well, that's all nuclear waste.
Nuclear waste. They might just throw it in with that.
Actually, what they should do is they put an anode and a cathode in those, and just take all that electricity that should be being, created by that
yeah.
nuclear power. A giant nuclear battery that's going to be there for the next 25,000 years. I think we can, tap into that.
That'll work. We can give that a shot. Is this that same article, babe?
This is the next one,
It's the next
and
one.
it's just the same thing. They withdrew it. We still don't know about all the others. And then they did a second time, and this one was underneath a different name. And we actually have a picture of the request for it. That's where we were discussing. It was a little weird. Want me to skip to that request?
Yeah, go ahead. Where is that?
It's this one. So the request was for Murray Hollow LC, which the other one was for Bar H Ranch. So they're going to be putting under who knows what kind of name
Yeah.
with each request. Unnamed Spring. So they didn't even put it down as Salt Wells. They did Unnamed Spring. Hansel Valley.
They have Wonder Valley on this one, don't they? Somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, they.
Right there. Wonder Valley, Utah, hydroelectric plant. Rated at 7.5 kilowatts. That's what you're saying. That's a weird number when they're going to be going a lot bigger.
Yeah,
Well,
7.5 kilowatt doesn't make sense.
I think they're trying to fly underneath the radar and see if they can find out what's the combo to get it to so no one
So it
notices.
slips past people.
Yeah.
It's hard enough getting a water right in Utah.
But here's the thing, though. What's this 7.5 kilowatt?
I have no idea what that's for.
It's like, what the heck?
And these numbers, I looked it up.
Hydroelectric power plant rated
Industrial.
at 7.5 kilowatt.
Yeah, I think the one in the canyon is 400 megawatts.
Yeah.
And
This doesn't make sense.
And
That,
these
that,
ones-
that rating there.
these
No, it's
numbers
weird.
are not going by acre feet. It's going off of what I looked before. It's going off like how much water you'd give certain animals. They're not even doing the acre feet over here like the previous application.
Yeah.
ELUs. Did you want to look up what that is?
ELU?
Yeah. 1350 ELUs.
Yeah, okay. Let's do that.
Yeah, I got no clue. Sorry I'm having you doing a lot of the reading, babe. My voice has been struggling and getting worse.
It's fine.
And my voice was actually pretty good this morning. I was actually really positive about how this was going to go. And then it just kept getting worse throughout the day.
Yelling at the kids.
I don't know.
You ever get the dad bark?
No.
You ever play Skyrim?
So, ELU, it stands
Yeah.
for Equivalent Livestock Unit.
Mm-hmm.
A water right of 1350 ELUs is a substantial volume of water.
Sorry, I
while
was looking it up too.
exact limits are specific to the individual water right.
Equivalents vary. For example, 5 sheep or goats or 33
Okay.
chickens per ELU.
Well, here for 1350 ELUs, it'd be 1,350 cattle. So it's just, they're doing
1
it.
ELU equals about 0.028 acre feet per yard.
Yeah, so it's a really weird number.
A small volume.
Tiny amount of water.
Okay, that explains.
That's probably construction use water.
Yeah, it's probably construction use, and that 7.5 kilowatts might be a generator.
Because if you don't know construction very well, there's a lot of water usage. And,
Especially in Utah, because you got to wet the ground, otherwise you breathe it.
well, it's the dust, so you don't breathe it, so you have to spray water to keep dust down. But if you want to get compaction, you need to get moisture in it. If it's too dry, it won't recompact. You have to add
And
water.
An
Yeah.
EDU is generally set to being 0.45 acre feet per year.
Okay.
So,
Hmm.
like I said,
About 400 gallons per day.
so it's being a little weird what they are doing.
That's a lot. 400 gallons a day.
Yeah.
I think they're trying to see how to sneak it through.
That might just be for the construction, though, because
Yeah.
400 gallons a day would be about a decent-sized construction area.
Yeah.
Well,
And 7.5
that's the thing
kilowatts
is in
would be...
pipeline, we've had some jobs where it's like one tank of 2,000 gallon water truck is probably like 2 days worth of water. But then other times they're filling up the water truck multiple times a day. All depending on how hot it is, so how much they have to water the ground, how much material we have to process, which is adding water to it so it will compact, and any of that.
Yeah, but you have to expect they're going to refile.
Oh yeah.
But they're going to try a different combo and a different name. Most likely.
Yep. Grab me another water.
So, Box Elder Accountability Referendum. Some of the people who are not happy with the county commissioners were trying to do referendums. I think they're doing at least 2 or 3 different referendums to try to get it bypassed. And unfortunately, we just found out on yesterday or Thursday that the Box Elder attorneys said, nope, we're not going to let any of the referendums go forward and start seeking signatures.
Yeah.
They've denied them.
We were looking into it. It sounds like a technicality
That it was.
that they looked for. It sounds like they were really looking for the technicality
Yeah.
to
He
be
said
able
like
to shut
it was
it down.
legislative, not executive. It was an executive thing that they were.
Yeah, the
pointing-
referendum is typically on legislative actions as compared to an executive action. This was a vote by the commissioners, not the council or anything. So it's an executive action, not a legislative.
They have county council?
The
Because
Box Elder attorney. It just said it was the Box Elder.
yeah, so the
attorney.
county commissioners are both the legislative and executive.
Mhm.
So it can go either way on that because they don't have a mayor. They just
Yeah,
have
but that's
county
the
council.
that's
or
the
county-
distinction that he was making. Is it's an executive action, not.
Or that's what you think. It was very, very.
That, well, from when you were reading it out to me, that's what it sounded like. Was it's an executive, not a legislative?
Yeah, and well, that's an interesting way to go about it. It's just legalese.
Mm-hmm.
So-
It's semantics.
So they can't get signatures to get rid of the data center. It's been denied. They'd have to start pushing for court to take it to court. But if they take it to court, they risk losing the stuff Box Elder County has been promised. That's the problem. That's what the article also mentioned. If they take it to court, they might lose the promises the Box Elder commissioners got.
What promises? I mean, seriously.
Taxes, property, or
Probably the
revenue.
property tax revenue from it.
That's what he was just saying.
Why would they lose the property tax revenue from it?
I don't know.
It would jeopardize what the commissioners had negotiated.
Okay, well, that's...
Sounds like bull crap.
Yeah, I know, but there was that one, and so this guy, Kevin O'Leary, rushing the data center because of competition. What do you think about that idea?
It's very possible, because I know China's building a whole bunch of them.
But I've heard that China might only have 400, not like us where we have thousands.
Well, they don't have the capacity, not to mention they don't have the chips to do it, and whatever chips they do manufacture or they get are vastly inferior to...
Yeah.
Like vast... They're,
using China as the reason why we have to do this for competition is not an excuse.
well, if it's competition with other companies, that makes sense. Which is true. But there are better ways to go about doing this than just simply rushing it through and saying, don't tell the people anything.
Yeah.
Because if you've got to include people in your deals. And that's what he's trying to avoid. He's trying to avoid including a whole bunch of people in the deals. And he wants to make a lot of money, and I get that. But the whole point of his companies are to include people in the deals. It's one of the reasons, if you ever watch Shark Tank, he started moving heavily into equity. Or not equity, royalties. Mm-hmm. Because royalties were his way of making a heck of a lot more money over a longer period of time.
Yeah.
They were instantaneous. He wasn't just going to get a dividend.
And then he didn't have to manage it, really. Either.
And he wouldn't have to manage it because he's like, well, yeah, you can have this, you can have my money, but I don't want any equity in it, I just want royalties. And he's just sitting there, cashing it all in, and he doesn't have to, well, I don't own the company, I just have royalties in it. And that's one of the reasons. It was a smart way to do it.
If it fails, it's not his problem.
Well,
like he loses that money, but it's not affecting any credit scores or anything he has.
Well, the money doesn't mean anything to him too, because he's just going to take out a loan to pay for it.
Yeah.
He's just going to leverage in order to pay for it.
Yeah.
Right.
And
so.
I think it's just suspicious. Mongol, Kevin O'Leary. Mongol. That's what I said right. Sorry. Spoke publicly of rushing the planned Stratos data center in Box Elder County because of competition, and said planning for this project of this scale has never been done so quickly. He seems so proud of it, but that means they're doing shady stuff.
He's dealing with the government. It's the same thing as Kaiser, right? Kaiser, which... So FDR, he had the price controls during the Great Depression. And then World War II is ramping up, and it's the mid-1930s. And this guy named Kaiser comes around, and he helped build the Hoover Dam, and or was responsible for it. And he comes in and says, yeah, I want to build ships. And they looked at him, and you've never built ships before. You're an architecture dam builder. You don't build ships. He goes, well, look what Henry Ford's doing. We can build ships in the exact same way. We can build them in pieces and then weld them all together and then push them out just like an assembly line. Mm-hmm. And so he went to FDR, and FDR was like, okay, what do you need from me? It's like, I need you to stop all of what you're doing. All the price hikes, the New Deal, you shut it down because it's killing everybody. And we went from 2 ships a year to 1,000 ships a year.
Yeah.
Or more. Like, we were building more ships than anyone else. We built, by the time the World War II ended, we had built like somewhere around 7,000 ships, which is insane. And 1,000 of those were warships. Like, it's absolutely... Our Navy eclipsed everybody else's combined. Like, everybody's.
In a very short period of time.
In 5 years. It was, not to mention the hundreds of thousands of tanks and aircraft and everything else that we managed to produce.
Yeah.
Right. So I can get what he wants his legacy to be in this case. Again, I think he should communicate a little bit better with individuals.
Yeah. Go ahead and read that bottom one, babe.
Okay. This is extraordinary, said O'Leary. It's unbelievable. It's unprecedented that we could accelerate this so fast. No one has pulled this off this fast ever.
Yeah, they have. Kaiser has.
Well, here's
a lot faster.
Here's the thing. I think he's speaking a little bit too early. he could be shooting himself in the foot with this comment because it's like this isn't over yet, and there's now lawsuits against him, or not him, but the project.
But
Yeah.
Kyle, but you know how we've discussed that? Why are they wanting 40,000 acres? We think eventually they're just going to bring other stuff in. Right here, there are other campuses, but we've got the tenants knocking on our door. The whole world knows about this project now.
Mm-hmm.
So I think intentionally,
It'll be the world's largest data center.
It'll probably be a complex of multiple data centers, not just this project, but others, because they already have the land for it.
Yeah, and that's what he's planning to do. But there are only a few spots in the world like this. That's the biggest problem. Is otherwise, it's perfect because you don't have to ship all your resources, right? I mean, you do have to ship the gas, but the gas line is already there. So all we're going to have to do is add to it. The infrastructure and everything is already there, and that makes it a big deal. You can't do this in the middle of the desert in Nevada very easily because you're going to have a problem with water. You're going to have to gas cool it, and even with gas cooling,
You're limited.
you're limited, and it's way more expensive. So,
but I'm worried about this. Larry said he heard about this opportunity just 5 months ago. So
Bullshit.
who brought it to his attention? That's like, who's behind him speaking in his ear saying,
Right
let's
now,
get this done.
Right now, that's actually about 6 months ago.
Yes. But
I
still,
thought last year they already planned. It was 2000.
so he says
25.
5 months ago he found out about it. So the question is, who is in
5
the shadow?
months ago, about a month ago.
So who is in the
Bullshit.
shadow speaking into his ear, telling him to do this? Who is the shadow person that we don't know that's pulling the strings? That's my question.
Maybe there's a shadow person. Maybe it's a group. I mean,
That's the thing. Who's the shadow group
well,
pulling the strings doing this?
it's
Because they're also making
I'm not
a twin
yeah.
in Canada.
Well,
so
I'm not saying that groups don't exist. I'm not saying individuals with nefarious means. I mean, we all know about
Joe Biden's
well,
person who ran everything
Well-
behind your back.
yeah,
You mean Obama, third term.
Obama. Yeah. So, but even then, so what ends up happening is you get a group of people or individuals, right, who all have similar goals. In this case, money, right? They want money. Then you have them look at, okay, well, what do we need for a data center, right? You get an engineer in here, he goes, okay, we need, pushes up his glasses, we need this, 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 and this. And he sits there and he tells all these rich people, okay, find us a place. What's the best place, do you think? And they have all these, businesses that go out and look for these things. Because right now, AI, I think they see what a lot of people don't see. And I see it too, right? I mean, I helped develop this stuff in school. We had... back in the day, we had MySpace, right?
Mm-hmm.
We actually had a program that would find MySpace accounts and send them emails, or not emails, that would get a MySpace message, and it would target people based upon their emotional, state.
Mhm.
So if it found a girl who posted that she or changed her status recently from in a relationship to not, we would push chocolates, flowers, and makeup. And we showed the stats to our teacher, and they were like, wow, that's amazing. This was just basic. Everybody knew you did this, but
Yeah.
through social media, we were pushing this information. We had all this information, and it came up, and what do you think they wanted to buy? Even vacations, anything. You could push anything onto somebody who wanted to who had just changed their emotional state.
Wow.
Right? So this is going to change into, for instance, my wife and I had a conversation just before I left. She's like, I'm hungry. I'm like, I think I want some Chick-fil-A. I'm like, okay, we'll buy some Chick-fil-A. Do you want me to go pick it up, or do you want DoorDash? Literally got an email or a message from DoorDash.
Yep.
She got a message.
Yep.
And I'm like, that's a problem. Now, you can push that information. You can literally push and intimidate people
Mm-hmm.
into buying things or acting a certain way, right? From a marketing standpoint, it's data gone insane,
Yeah.
right? It's not only do we have our data flying around, now we have the actual machine telling us what we want.
Yeah.
And that's what this is about.
Kyle, that reminds me of the article about the person who their fridge did a little business, and so it had commercial stuff dropped
Oh.
off into it, and it
They
went
had a fridge
to
like in
DoorDash
their
pickups.
like they had a carport garage, like a fridge in their carport garage had a DoorDash, an AI running a business out of it, where it would order all the sandwiches, the pre-made sandwiches that would be put in there, and then it would DoorDash out the sandwiches to people.
Yeah.
It made it as a
It's
hot,
just
had a
like-
quick drop-off spot that people wanted some certain snacks. The DoorDash person could go there, grab it, and take it to the person.
Now imagine you've got a drop shipping business,
Mm-hmm.
right? Now you don't have to have this cold email going out to other people. You
Mhm.
just simply you can spot target all of your customers, every single one of them. You know
Yeah.
they're going to buy because it just decreases the price. You're taking the system that we have and making it more efficient. Again, you have energy being transferred from one state to another over time. You made it far more efficient, so now you're targeting specific people who are more likely to buy. And that's just the tip of the iceberg for this stuff,
Mm-hmm.
right? I mean,
So-
and,
Here's your favorite person.
oh
Kyle.
gosh, no.
Oh.
The man who lives up to his name.
Okay, so beyond data centers,
Doesn't
Utah
that guy on the
governor-
left actually look like he doesn't like him? The way he's looking at him?
No, that's him all the time. I
So-
now remember who he is.
Oh, you do?
Utah
He's-
governor
He's just got resting, I don't like you face.
Yep.
resting bee face, like they say about
No,
girls.
no, not resting bitch face. Just resting like I don't like you.
Okay.
That's
So,
funny.
Cox is saying the proposed data center will be limited to 1.5 gigawatts and 2,000 acres, but they want 9. But he's saying
They keep
Yes.
talking about the 9 gigawatts. And then if it's only 2,000, why do you need the 40,000?
40,000 acres for a lot of different things.
Mhm.
yeah. I
But the
think
proposed data center, that doesn't mean once you lock it in, you add to it. It's like any bill,
Mhm.
right? All we do is we just need to pass the bill and then we can add to it later. And
Yeah.
It's easy to add to something.
And
Yep.
the governor defended AI data centers as part of America's national security and competition with China. And Cox spoke with Atlantic writer McKay Coppins at a panel co-hosted by the Deseret News on Monday.
China's a threat in different ways. I mean, China's a threat because they mess with California, they mess with Texas, they've got land out here. You know, they spy on our military outposts and bases. China's got their listening post in Cuba that's spying on Florida. It's less than 100 miles away.
My goodness.
But haven't we also discussed that their population is starting to go down?
Oh, their
Yeah, that's
population
what
is
they're-
probably not nearly what they think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not doing as
No,
good.
there's
Because
actually...
I'm doing the math and it's impossible.
No, there's a lot of debate on that because they've had the one-child policy for so long. How did their population go up?
Yeah.
And
But then
people-
Well, in the
top of
90s.
that-
They stopped it in the 90s.
Yeah, but on top of that though, you still have that issue of how their population go up while they had the one-child policy, but then at the same time their local governments might be lying about it because if they say yeah our population went up, they could get more funding.
Yep.
And so it's just a whole freaking scam inside the country where
That's
they're
what
all
happens with
scamming
government.
each other.
That's what happens. It's if you just look at the math, right? Just look at numbers. It's the same thing with Russia. Russia has more nuclear weapons than the United States. That's impossible. That's physically impossible. They don't spend nearly as much money as we do.
Well, I
on
think even if
nuclear
they had
weapons.
more, the money they're spending doesn't equate to that many operational warheads.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. They don't have
It's
the
like-
warheads that they're.
Their
that everybody's
warheads are
claiming.
either ruined, not useful, or they've had to get rid of them because they just can't maintain them anymore.
Tritium and deuterium has a half-life. It's only effective up to a point.
Yeah.
You know, and
They
it's
might
only,
have the missile
it's 40
sitting
years.
there, but they may not have a usable warhead.
well, and even then, the fuel degrades after.
Yeah.
You know, they've got some liquid, they've got some solid rockets, and even then, the fuel might not be as reactive as they need it to be, and so
Yeah.
it's not going to be anywhere near as accurate.
And
I-
it may not even reach the target. It
But I
may
think
not even
we-
get off the continent.
But I think we looked up, Kyle, that China's on their scale of how they're reproducing, they're lower than the United States because people have to work such long schedules. They killed so many girls that
Mhm.
most of their men are not married, and they only have one child or two children, but still over half the population isn't married, and there's not enough girls for the men.
Yeah.
So.
And what do you do with a bunch of young men that you don't have women for? Send them to war.
No, it's a problem. I mean, I think
She wants a kiss.
we've got a population problem in the world. It's not overpopulation. We're having an underpopulation problem soon.
Yeah.
We're not going to be able to facilitate, which is fine because all the technical jobs are going to be taken by AI.
Mm-hmm.
But then no one's going to know how to do anything. We're going to have a regression if that's the case. I mean, that's
Now,
worst
to be
case scenario
fair,
dystopia.
like,
But
If AI takes over the HR department, HR will be better.
it depends on the company.
90%
Some of them-
of them.
The AI might actually be honest.
That's the problem. AI would be honest. Ugh.
Hopefully.
Take that with a grain of salt.
I guess people are threatened by certain things. Yes, AI is a problem for, because of its predictive algorithms. You can predict the outcome of a battle or even an election or even sway an election with enough, AI. And again, people are like, well, that's dystopian. That's worst case scenario. They've already done that. They just caught Google doing that just now. Google just got caught doing it.
Doing what again?
Affecting an election in
Oh,
California.
yeah. No, that's all they do now.
Yeah, and Meta got caught, and there was a whole massive thing. And their claim is, well, the federal government threatened us. It's
Bullshit.
like, yeah, you weren't complicit.
That threat doesn't mean anything if you come out with it publicly.
Meta just fired like 22 to 27% of its employees. Oh,
Yeah, so it's a mix. That's the thing, as you said earlier, it's a mixed bag where it's like there are good things that'll happen with it, but there's bad things too.
yeah, and it's going to get more polarized as far as like I said, TV. Right? You've got programs that were educational. Philo Farnsworth said this is going to be used for good things and for evil.
Mm-hmm.
And sure as hell it was. Same thing with the internet, right? Your phone has the collective works of all mankind right there,
Mm-hmm.
right? Soon you'll be able to ask it any question it'll tell you,
Yeah,
right? I mean, you can already do that. You can ask it pretty much anything.
as long as it's
it'll
not
tell
about
you.
politics, because it will be biased.
Well, it depends on the system too.
That's true.
It's the control of the system that, and a lot of people are, well, we want it open source so that it's not controlled. There's no way to tell whether or not it is being influenced or not.
Mm-hmm.
There's zero way that you can tell, right? Because if we put restrictions on it through government, then that's going to be a problem. If we don't restrict it, that's going to be a problem. So what we need to do is rely on our own abilities in order to figure out what is true and what's not. And we're going to get to the point where it's going to start rewriting history.
Mm-hmm.
Like, imagine that.
If it hasn't already tried it.
Well, not just that, but it's a system, right? So if you can actually have it go out and start publishing information that is contrary to reality.
Muslims are already trying to do that in Texas.
That's true.
They're trying to get history rewritten in the textbooks, saying that freaking the Alamo was a Muslim building.
And they're trying to also say that some of the slaves we brought over from Africa were Muslim.
Yeah.
That is a possibility. I'm not going to deny that is a
It
possibility.
is a possibility. But
However,
it's
they
very,
were
very slim because they were farther northeast.
yeah.
Than
They were everywhere. The problem with that argument, however, is who sold them to who.
yeah. Let's be honest. Most of them were probably sold by Muslim Africans, not Muslim Africans being sold.
And that is an entirely different conversation about. So what about slavery now? If slavery is so bad back in the past, it's so terrible. You know how many Christian slaves are in Muslim countries right
A
now?
lot.
In Yemen, I think it's 1 million to 2 million. Just in Yemen.
Yeah.
Like, that's insane. And slavery was bad. The transatlantic slave trade was a terrible thing.
hmm
But it wasn't a whole bunch of
Yeah.
white guys.
Next tab. But yeah, no, that's the thing, is it's freaking worse today, technically. When you look at the numbers,
more people
slavery's
enslaved,
worse today now than it was then.
Yeah, well, they have different names for it. They use economics.
What was this one, babe?
This one, Cox claimed today that the controversial Box Elder County Data Center will return water to the Great Salt Lake, and that water is not one of the issues people should be concerned about when it comes to this project.
Coming from a guy who's been draining that lake for the mines for the last 10 years.
Yeah, ironically.
And right here, today, Governor Cox today has signed an executive order declaring the statewide drought emergency.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Ironically.
hypocrite. We have enough water to get through this year if we treat every gallon like the finite resource it is.
If he would allow rain capture, we wouldn't have that problem.
You can rain capture in Utah.
You can't drink it, though.
Well, can't get caught.
That's the problem.
And as long as you keep it on the property it's came from, that's okay. But you can at least use it for gardening, your
Oh, yeah. You
animals.
can use it for gardening and animals. The dumb thing is, if you use rain capture, where does the water go after it's used?
In the ground.
Goes right back to where it was supposed to. So you just used it for yourself and still went into the ground.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing. It is the most efficient system you can possibly.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it doesn't rain out here very much, but it's been raining for the last couple days.
Yeah.
I got at least 6 inches in the last couple days. Total.
Very nice.
The next one that we kind of wanted to point out and laugh at about Cox as well
Oh, Governor Cox and Mel.
is I want to say a word about how we engage in this debate. Utahns care deeply about our land, our water, our rural towns, and the future we leave to the next generation. Strong opinions are welcome. Healthy disagreement is part of our good government, but I know my own comments at a recent press conference did not meet the expectations I have for myself. I'll seek to do better. Through all of this, we cannot lose sight of our shared humanity. Public officials, community members, and project opponents. These people are our neighbors. Threats and personal attacks have no place in Utah. Utah must remain a place where we can pursue opportunity, protect the things we love, and treat each other with decency along the way. I believe we can support economic strength while also protecting our land, air quality, and way of life. That remains my commitment to the people of Utah.
Doesn't show.
This is gaslighting.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
very good at
But we
it.
thought it was
yeah.
funny because I will be continuing to monitor the progress of this project. In addition to these actions and expectations, we have worked in recent days to answer many of the pressing questions about the project. Military readiness is what the project's for. Power. Taxes, which we hate. Energy. Land. The project will be fewer than 2,000 acres.
And what's with the 40,000?
Water.
Liar.
Air quality, project size, and transparency, accountability, and high standards for the hyperscale data centers in Utah. They are not transparent. They tried sneaking it through. So
Oh,
that
yeah.
is BS.
No, definitely preaching to the choir here on that.
Yeah,
no,
that's
there's
why
nothing.
we
This has
kept
not
this.
been transparent.
We thought it was kind of funny, all this stuff he's saying in
But-
that little thing.
He's a master gaslighter. I mean, remember during COVID, he got caught with all his donors at that party without a mask, and he was having a party during the COVID when he was telling everybody
To wear a mask.
to wear a mask and don't go out in public and don't have parties.
Mm.
Yet he's having a high paying per plate party for his donors.
Yeah.
And then he gets up and
Do
goes,
you want
I'm
to
really
have a
sorry,
drink?
we
Thank
shouldn't
you.
have done that. And then they continue to do it. So
Of course.
they don't care about.
Of course. No, he
What
doesn't
the
give a
people
crap. He doesn't care. We have to limit our water use so that way we can have enough water for the data center.
So,
Yeah. Well, we could always measure how much water he uses for his lawn.
Yeah?
His very large lawn,
Large lawn.
just grass.
so this is the thing we wanted to bring up
It's
kind
very
of about
well kept
Cox.
and very green, I guess.
It's the little data center on the prairie from Elevate Utah, which Kyle says he likes some of their articles, not most of them though.
No,
So-
Information is information. Take it with a
They've
grain of
done
salt.
good at getting information. I just hate the way liberals write.
So here it is. There's a version of rural Utah that Governor Spencer Cox loves to talk about. That rural Utah is really useful for Spencer Cox's Utah. Tries to look all homely and nice.
Brand new gloves.
Yep.
I don't think that man's ever worked a day in his life.
No. No, he hasn't.
And this week, more than 1,000 people packed the Box Elder County Fairgrounds after learning a 40,000-acre natural gas data center, bigger than Manhattan, powered by private gas pipeline, sitting directly on the Great Salt Lake
Watershed.
Watershed had already been approved and just needed to be rubber stamped by the Box Elder County Commission. And just like that, rural Utah went from sacred political symbol to inconvenient obstacle.
Yep.
Because, like you said, he doesn't care about the little guy.
No.
Well, I mean, just the way they tax the farmers is enough to know that they don't care about farms should never be taxed, period. There should be no property tax on farms.
Yeah.
They use it specifically because if they want a farm to be used for housing, they increase the taxes in that area specifically. And then they kick the people out. You've got tons of farms just across the freeway from where you guys are, right? And then you've got the orchards just down the street.
Yeah.
They're disappearing because they can't pay the taxes. You cannot make that money on that land. It just makes it impossible.
Yeah.
Right? And
So-
that's how they use property tax, and they're trying to do it inside.
Well, the funny thing is, gosh damn, why does all crappy crap come out of Canada? The people who came up with the property tax, who are from Canada, that was the explicit purpose, was to be able to force people to sell their land so they could use it for projects.
Yep. It's government control. You are leasing your land.
I didn't
So
even
that the
realize that
government
was.
can kick you
I knew it was Canadians. I didn't put that together again. We got a lot of Canadian problems here in the U.S.
If only the War of 1812 had gone differently.
Oh, I know.
Well, actually, I think we shouldn't have attacked Canada, but
So
the
it's-
British. We shouldn't have attacked the British in Canada. Canada loves to say we beat you in war. Actually,
No.
the War of 1812 we won because we stopped England from blockading us, and we finally got them to recognize that we were an independent nation. Yes, we invaded Canada because we said, "Hey, we're going to help you. Do you want help?" And the Canadians said yes, but it was really the British spies who said, "Bring your army up here," so they could try and crush the army to move south, so they could. You know, it's kind of sad, but we never actually fought Canada. We fought the British.
Yeah.
So-
Yep.
So META, if people don't know, its board is appointed, not elected. The governor appoints 5 members, even though he said he thought he only appointed 1. So he appointed 5 of the members. And the Senate President and the Speaker of the House each appoint 1 board member, and the Senate President currently chairs the same board he helps appoint.
Interesting.
So Cox says he only thinks he appointed 1, but he's supposed to appoint 5.
The organization seems more like a very roundabout way to do executive actions.
So
Without
META,
taking responsibility.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you've got appointed, because you can appoint people to boards on, in Congress, right? There are different national security and things like that. This seems to be less of an appropriations committee and more of an action committee, which is kind of interesting.
which people in Congress, normally the committees, they decide something and then they vote on it.
Yeah.
Which this one, they don't have to, which is kind of suspicious.
Yeah, it seems more like something else that Utah does is we incorporate cities, which I have a major problem with.
Yeah.
Like all of our water and electrical is all through city incorporations.
Yeah.
Why does a city get to incorporate? I mean, it shouldn't be a company. If you want to run it like a company, let's run it like a company. If you lose money or you are overpaying somebody, the people who is in charge, which would be us, the board member, or not the board members, the shareholders, we should be able to tell you exactly what to do, right? But we don't. It's a way to make it so that they get all of the benefits of being a company, but protected by local government.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it should not be that way. In fact,
Sounds like a Gestapo.
it's it's close. It's closer to a mafia, actually. I really think about it. When the mob first came out, all they did was buy politicians and city government.
Yeah.
I mean, the reason that we have a lot of, and I love police. Don't get me wrong, the police are great, especially in Utah. They've been wonderful. But you get a lot of the traditions of the of law enforcement when they were all paid off by the mob, right? I mean, law enforcement is supposed to. Actually, their job isn't even to protect the citizens. Their job is to investigate crimes. That is their job. They are not preventative of crime. That's our job. They are
chances are they're not going to be there to prevent it.
Well,
so
but they still pass laws and try to do things like speed traps. They're trying to prevent speeding, but they're not doing an investigation. They set up a trap, an area which they know people are going to speed in, and they sit there, right?
Yeah.
Utah's not too bad for that. That's great. You go to the Midwest, they're everywhere, especially when you cross a county or a state line, right? You go from Kansas City to Missouri, and they're right there waiting for you, right along, I think it's I-60. And it's scary. The same thing happens with other law enforcement branches, like the good old boys kind of mentality. We protect our own, right? The idea that they have certain protections. I'm doing this for police safety. Number one is not police safety. Number one should be my safety as the individual.
Yeah.
Right? Because if I put on a police uniform, which, yes, is illegal, but criminals still do, I can do things for police safety and get you to give me a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Right? It causes corruption. There should be certain things involved to make sure that they're kept safe. But the corruption, as you can see from this, the corruption is a problem.
Oh, yeah.
So, META can issue bonds, approve development agreements, offer tax incentives, and steer hundreds of millions in public financing into private projects, all without a single public vote.
Yeah, that's a corporation.
It wields enormous power and operates within limited public accountability, which makes it very useful if you're trying to move quickly on something that might not survive public scrutiny.
Yeah. And again, I think Kevin O'Leary, if he wants to buy land and put something on there, he should be able to do that.
This is the thing we don't like.
But this is an overstep.
So META's board approved the Stratos project on the April 24th. They granted O'Leary Digital a 92% cut on standard energy use tax from 6% to 0.5%. And structured the property taxes so that 80% flow back to the developer.
Huh?
Yeah. 80% of the property taxes are going to go right back to the developer. The public upside, META touts is $30 million a year for Box Elder County and hundreds of jobs once the project is running.
Hundreds of jobs for something the size of Manhattan.
Yeah.
Like
and again, like you were saying,
in perspective, Manhattan's millions of people in the area.
9 million, something like that, more than that, 11
We're
million.
talking hundreds of jobs for an area that where a normal city has possibly 300,000-400,000.
Yeah, and using that many resources, they're getting major tax cuts and land cuts. Why don't farmers get those tax cuts? Like, seriously, I mean that's
They produce something that we need, absolutely need for survival.
Yeah, I mean that's more national security than anything else. Is I like having food
An
on my
army
plate.
marches on its belly.
Yeah, I mean logistics is number one, and that's something the United States does really well for its military. But looks like its government doesn't understand where the burgers are coming from.
Nope.
I think because they're also, who knows, I'm partly wondering if the shadow person in the back might not be Bill Gates because he's trying to push his lab-grown meat. Get rid of as many cattle as possible.
Make
so
prices go up.
Lab-grown meat needs to go on the market.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to get lab-grown meat going anywhere.
I hope not, because you've talked about the reproductive cells. It is cancer cells that they use. It's not. That's the only cell that reproduces.
Well, they turn them into cancer cells.
Well, yeah,
they're stem
cancer
cells
because it's the cancer cells, the ones that will just keep growing.
Well, yeah, they're trying. They engineer them. It's a little more than that, but I wouldn't eat it either way.
Yeah, it's probably worse if anything.
And right here it says that Box Elder County Commissioners who had to sign off for the project to proceed, so they were giving some big pressure on them. That they had to. And they had pressure from local people saying you need to go through with this.
Yeah.
So, I'm curious. You're talking about a shadow individual. Honestly, O'Leary stands to make a lot of money off of this.
Mm-hmm.
I know, but someone pointed him in this direction.
Well, again,
6
he's
months
got
ago.
he pays think tanks to send him information, and that's possible. But and again, what was that thing that Hillary Clinton used to say? Never let a good crisis go unused.
Oh yeah, never let a good crisis go to waste.
Go to waste. It's the same thing as, opportunities. There are companies that look for specific opportunities. In this case, we need data centers. Where do they go? They put it in this place. So it's just, it ends up being like a lottery ticket for a lot of people because it just ends up making all of them rich. The problem I'm having with this is the non-transparency. Is the lying when it comes to water, because there's no way they're using that little water,
Yeah.
right? I mean, it's
Oh yeah.
So
not to mention they're going to have to spend. Utah is going to have to spend a crap ton on infrastructure. We're going to have to spend a lot of money on infrastructure to get that pipe. Now they're going to get federal funding for that because it's probably going to be considered national security. So they're going to get that pipe.
And it goes across
Several state lines, yeah.
a couple state lines. So I mean, at some point, it's going to be multiple states involved in it.
But if they're wanting the amount of energy that they're claiming, the 9 gigawatts eventually, right, up down the road, the pipe itself now doesn't even produce that, and people use that.
Yep.
Right? So they're going to have to build like 2 more pipes.
Well, I think I mentioned to you though, it's like the pipeline now. If they were using the most efficient natural gas pipeline, they could hypothetically produce it with 100% of that pipeline. But that pipeline, according is
I
it
think
this
goes
article?
to Oregon and Washington, or it's
Is
one
it
of
this
the-
article? It's like it's close to 50% usage right now.
Oh, that's on the
And
next article. It's on the next article.
That's the next one.
Yeah.
So it's like there's no way that they could use this pipeline for it.
No, is Delta attached to it?
This pipeline?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Well, Delta's being converted to natural gas.
I don't think it's gonna be for Delta though.
So it's not going to have a tributary going down there.
The water?
No, the gas, natural gas.
Probably not. That's really far north. Delta will probably be connected to the ones down here
Okay. I was just curious.
for natural gas at least.
And we read this in a previous article a couple weeks ago. Scientists have been equally clear. META claimed the 3 gigawatt first phase would use just 24 acre feet of water. U.S. physics professor Robert Davies ran the numbers and found that it would make Stratos 97% more water efficient than the most efficient gas plant in the United States.
That's just the power plant. That's not the data center.
That's the
Yep.
power plant.
Yeah.
So either the laws
And that's the
of thorough...
water usage of it. So this is, and that kind of improvement doesn't happen.
Yep, so either the laws of thermodynamics have been quietly repealed somewhere between Shark Tank tapings, or someone isn't being straight. And Patrick Belmont says the project would wipe out every restorative gain Utah has made on the Great Salt Lake. It would ruin it all. Just because it's built on its watershed, it'd suck all the water out of it.
Yeah.
Well, the water they're going to use for it, it's it's a steam power plant. That's how it works. That's evaporated water. Are they condensing that and then sending it into the river? What are they doing?
Yeah, even then, if they're condensing it, they're going to have to run it through a salt bath in order to actually get it. And I don't mean like heavy salt bath, but they're going to have to give it minerals back because it's going to be,
Pure.
well, not
It's-
pure, but it's going
It's
to be
effectively just.
it's going to be distilled water, which is not good for anything. I mean, yes, if you're pumping that back into the Salt Lake, you're actually taking salt out of it, but then you have a major problem with where your minerals going.
Yeah.
Usually you use purified water already, so you have to purify it and take the
Yeah.
minerals out. Where are you putting all those minerals? Because that stuff is pretty toxic
Yeah.
because it's concentrated.
Yeah.
You're talking about salts, calcium, carbides, iron, heavy metals,
Yeah.
things like that. Eventually you're going to get sludge out of that stuff.
All of it's got to go somewhere.
And there is no completed environmental impact analysis. The project was approved before it was required. The commissioners voted and said the environmental review would happen later at some point.
That's
Well,
interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's weird. There's a lot of shenanigans going on with this.
Old Mac Cox had a farm. Oops.
Yep.
Alleged alfalfa farmer.
Yeah, confirm. So, alleged alfalfa farmer and confirmed Governor of Utah, Spencer Cox, kicked off his April 30th press conference acknowledging that 100% of Utah is in a drought, 59% of it extreme, and that the Great Salt Lake is still not recovering fast enough. Then he called the scientists and residents raising concerns about a natural gas facility on the Great Salt Lake watershed, people operating off of models and technologies that have changed drastically, and dismissed their concerns as disinformation.
Yeah.
Like I said, he's pushing for go data centers, but you guys need to conserve your water for those data centers.
He's a lot like Hillary Clinton. If Hillary Clinton's head looked like a uncircumcised.
No, the contradiction of we're in a drought, we need to conserve water, but we need to make one of the most ambitious water usage projects
Yeah.
in the United States.
Yeah.
And
Is an
right
issue.
here, originally reported by the Salt Lake Tribune in 24, Cox's family founded and ran Centricom, a telecommunications company based in Fairview for generations. He served as vice president and general counsel before entering politics in 2013. The company was sold to LICT Corporation in 2001, but family members, including his father and cousin, have managed it. Since Cox entered politics, Centricom has expanded its fiber network from roughly 900 miles to over 2,400 miles, becoming the second largest fiber network in the state. And the growth has tracked closely with Cox's political rise.
Yeah, I'm going to play a little bit of devil's advocate on that. I'm not saying he has nothing to do with it, but a growth in 10 years of, it looks like quadruple, a little bit over quadruple, maybe 5 times.
It's not bad.
It is not bad, especially for fiber, since fiber's gone everywhere,
Yeah.
right? And somebody needed to do it.
Well, also, think of how much fiber there was back then. 2013, right?
Now, 2001 is...
Yeah. From 2001. You know what? To be fair, he might be the worst performing fiber company in the U.S.
Well, it's a lot of miles. What I'm saying is, you can't say for sure. You can't say definitely that it had to do with his political or his political affiliations. However,
It didn't hurt.
I'm sure it didn't hurt.
And a lot of politicians like to help send contracts toward their family members.
Oh, they love doing that. They absolutely love doing that. Are you kidding me? That's like the number one thing they do. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the biggest problems I have with Utah is any state does it. I mean, really. But Utah has some of the most rampant growth, which causes some of the most rampant
Corruption.
Mm-hmm.
in that way. I mean, it pays to be a family member of somebody who's in politics.
Yeah.
And Centricom has been actively expanding its rural fiber footprint across Utah, including in the kinds of remote rural areas where projects like Stratos get built.
It doesn't make sense to put fiber in the middle of nowhere. It does make sense to put fiber in places where you can just cross state lines and expand your business.
And it makes sense to put fiber out in the middle of nowhere when you know there's going to be a
something,
data center in the middle of nowhere.
So if they're the ones doing the data center, then that's a conflict of interest at least.
Yeah.
But like we saw earlier with Mike Schultz, all you have to do is put Mike Schultz Inc. Holding Company.
Well, in this
Nothing
case,
else.
in this case, it would be a little different because that would be, since he's not a part of it, but a family member is getting something, right? If you can prove that, and that they're not the best candidate for the job, sadly, the courts in Utah are terrible too. I mean, there are some good judges, but there are some really bad ones. I mean, we've been trying to get Title SB 40?
For what?
That allows the state to control the our caucus system.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's SB. I think it's SB 40. It gives the state the ability to say that we also can do a signature system. Problem is, the Republican Party is a private entity.
Mm-hmm.
The state should have zero authority to tell us how to pick our candidates.
Yeah.
They say, well, it affects government.
Who cares?
It doesn't matter if it affects government because anything anybody does affects government.
The nature of how big the LDS church is in Utah affects government.
Very
Does
much.
that mean that the government can now get into the church's business and tell it how to run stuff?
Yeah, exactly.
Hell no.
And it shouldn't be the other way around either. Maybe morally, but again, those should be suggestions. When it comes to the corruption that happens in Utah, it's we get to tell you you have to use signatures, and even if your caucus system, which has benefited him because this happened 10 years ago, how long has he been governor?
Lieutenant governor for Herbert, and then governor. This is his second term.
Well, it's been about 9 years almost.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's the beginning of his third term, isn't it?
I don't know.
I don't know. I'll have to look at it again. Anyway,
I stopped voting for him and started writing in Lyman.
I think we all did. Lyman had the largest write-in election campaign in U.S. history. He had over 400,000 people in a state that's 4.3 million. That's 10% of the population, not including, he actually had a decent percentage of the vote.
Yeah.
And that's 4.3 million people, not including children or people who don't vote or Democrats.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So that's a huge thing. Mm-hmm. Sorry, I went off on a tributary.
Nope, you're
That's
fine.
good. Good
So,
tributary.
Just points out the
It's
problem.
always nice to talk about Lyman.
The problem with Spencer Cox's rural Utah brand, it works beautifully as long as rural Utah stays symbolic and doesn't get up in arms about it.
That rope is bothering me.
I know.
I mean, it's a stupid thing, but still,
No, you're wrong. You're right.
that rope is bothering me to
The
no end.
fact I don't know anyone who holds their rope like that. Just holds it.
That's a nylon rope,
Then
not
you
a
got-
traditional rope a farmer would use.
Well, it depends on what you're using it for.
Is that twine?
Yeah,
I think it is.
like nylon twine.
That might be polyester twine, like the orange
Yeah.
baleen
Either way,
polyester.
his gloves look brand new. And I
love the
his
looking
boots-
off in the distance.
his
I'm sorry, I'm
boots
being
don't
critical
even-
of him.
No, his boots don't even look very muddy either.
Yeah, he's just looking off in the distance. I'm sorry, his pants need to be muddy. in
Well,
that
first
case.
of all, he's also one of those fags that freaking tucks his pants in.
Yeah.
Think about it. How many guys you know tuck their pants in?
Oh.
No. He's a weirdo.
And this
Definitely
one,
not a real farmer.
and down here it points out Stuart Adams and his $135,000 that he got from META supporters. That was very, very suspicious.
Not to also ignore the fact that if most actual farmers in Utah are actually wearing like cowboy boots,
Yeah.
they're not wearing that stuff. And honestly, I bet you half of the reason is just because they can wipe the crap off it.
Yeah. Well, you go to Cow Ranch, and I've never seen anybody not wear cowboy boots in Cow Ranch.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's southern Utah too, so I don't know about.
Yeah. All right. Sorry, babe.
Don't know about
You're fine.
up north in Layton, up by
So
the mountain.
on here, they want you to sign the Alliance for a Better Utah petition calling for the Senate Ethics Committee to investigate Senate President Adams for all that PAC money. And here are all the people who are on the Senate Ethics Committee. And there's Sandoll. He's on it.
There's a lot of D's on there, isn't there?
Yeah.
Yep. Well, that's Utah.
And
Utah's the only one of the states that requires bipartisan committees like ethics committees.
and
So there has to be equal amount of Democrats and Republicans.
they want us to contact our state legislators.
Works.
META is a state authority, and the legislature has oversight power. Ask them why an unelected agency was able to approve something this consequential before the affected county knew it existed.
And you know,
Ask what accountability mechanisms exist. Ask why there aren't more. Ask why they aren't doing something about it. And ask them how this squares with the resolution they passed after Trump saying that we need to, and we're quoting both here from the resolution and the Truth Social post, make the Great Salt Lake great again.
I don't have a problem with that with Utah, where we require it to be a bipartisan ethics committee. Just because it's like, it prevents any one party from actually saying or enforcing a subjective ethic that's just unique to that party as compared to now they have to agree what are these fundamental ethics that we want to enforce.
The problem is that Utah Republicans aren't Republicans; they're
Yeah.
Democrats. I mean, Cox's policies have always been
Yeah.
very Democrat.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
He even announced his pronouns to people.
that's another thing. The disagree better thing was annoying, to say the least. That campaign slogan drove me nuts. We need to disagree better. And what do you mean by that? You mean I need to agree with you. That's pretty much what it is.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we need to figure out about this. I agree with this quote or this part. Because if they are going to put that phrase into an actual legislative resolution, they could answer why a massive gas-powered data center on the Great Salt Lake watershed got rushed through before the public could meaningfully weigh in.
Yeah, and again, the problem with that is they can weigh in. They should have authority to weigh in on how the resources are used, because in Utah, water is public, right? And the gas itself is coming through a publicly funded pipeline.
Mhm.
But having the center itself built that should be private. No one can tell them otherwise. Now, if they wanted to build something else that helped the center itself, that's fine.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's where I stand on it. I am not against a data center. I want to make sure they don't pollute, and I want to make sure that the infrastructure is there and it doesn't kill like and I don't mean physically, but I mean kill all the other businesses around the area.
Yeah.
So, and having a city out in the middle of nowhere would be great, but the problem is we're not building a city. We're building a warehouse to house, and I'm just saying this for comic relief, but it warehouses 9 billion PS5s, so that it can run all its data. So I don't know. It's interesting how far they're going to go with this.
Listen up that next tab, babe.
Okay, this is the Great Salt Lake Dust Bowl. Did you want to look at this one or no?
No.
Okay.
I've seen that. It's scary what happens when there's no water.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what we need to be concerned
Everyone
about.
generally knows that if the Great Salt Lake dries up, Salt Lake County is basically uninhabitable.
But also, what if the toxic chemicals from the data center get leaked into the Great Salt Lake and it dries up? That's even more stuff into the air.
So if there are toxic chemicals, they would be minor compared to the salts that are already in the lake.
Yeah.
Like if the lake dries up, those caustic salts go everywhere, and it creates, like you said, a dust bowl, and it kills everything downwind.
Yeah.
So any northerly blowing wind is going to kill Idaho, and any southerly blowing wind is going to kill everything in Provo. It's just
Yeah.
going to cover everything in salt.
Yeah.
We're concerned about heavy metals that are in there, pathogens, algae toxins, just a lot of stuff.
Yeah, there are tons of heavy metals in the lake. The algae is a problem because it's one of the only living things that actually lives in there. And these are extremophiles. These things live in extreme
Everything.
conditions.
Every kind of condition.
So, the algae doesn't. The algae is interesting. It needs a very high saline content.
Well, the algae itself may not survive, but the spores can spread. And even then, you can have issues just from inhaling the spores.
Yeah, and it depends. It's the toxins that are in that lake because the algae produces them. I mean, it's you just see what happens in a freshwater lake, like
Yeah.
Utah Lake.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to swim in that lake.
No.
Not when there's an algae bloom. It's a problem, and it creates massive carbon dioxide problems in the lake too.
Yeah.
So this is just talking about the data center. The one part we were interested in is it's going to have a mixed-use innovation district that supports the valley workforce, strengthens regional opportunity, and offers shared amenities for the valley and surrounding community. So they're expecting to be a community next door to it.
And again, for 10,000 people.
And here is what it's kind of supposed to look like.
I don't like it.
It's funny. They added a whole bunch of people in sweaters.
Mhm.
See, they're not walking on snow. That's salt.
That's not wrong. Out there's a lot of salt on the ground.
And over there is another building next to it.
Yeah, that's probably the office. The building next to it's probably the warehouse.
That's
And
one thing people don't realize. There are parts of Utah that are white all the time because of salt,
Because of
not
salt.
snow.
there's that. And
Although
this
we're in May
part-
now, and there's snow on the mountains.
is the interesting one. Is it discussed it? And this is here it is. The 3,000 acre solar array in the south. On the
It is
northeast south.
horridly inefficient. I don't know why the hell they're doing that.
And here is the mixed use innovation district. It's like, for a big huge data center, why are you going to build, it looks like a park area.
Well, probably because families are in there and they want to make it look beautiful. And there are requirements for workplaces in Utah.
Yeah.
The campuses have to have open areas and certain things.
And look, all the streams, they'll just be building it around there and they'll just be dry and gone when they suck all the water out.
Yeah, there won't actually be any streams in there.
I know.
Well, no, they might. Because they might go and actually waterproof the bottom of those so they don't lose that
It
water.
won't matter. The water's going to be gone.
Yeah.
Long-term power strategy. That's what the 3,000 solar panels,
That's
3,000 acre solar
long
panels.
term. That's funny. Each panel has an average lifespan of 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, it doesn't. That solar panel array doesn't make any sense why they even have it.
Yeah, it's
And
going to...
here it is. The Ruby Pipeline. Right there. That's that gray line.
Okay. So, yeah, it's right
It
through
looks
the
like
area.
right there it is.
That's what I thought.
It goes through it. So, yeah. So I don't know. It's just all these little things.
They're going to have to improve infrastructure by a lot.
Oh, yeah.
They should pay for the infrastructure improvements because they're the ones bringing it.
That's actually pretty common. That they do pay for part of it, not even if they can't pay for all of it, it's not uncommon that they do pay for part. It's all about the contracts, though. That's the thing. Having done pipelines, I can tell you, it's all
And
about the
apparently,
contracts.
right here, they're estimating 7,900 acres to be part of the. I think it's in this area, phase 1 parcel, but they're going to have this little buffer, 1,000-foot buffer. I just don't know if that'll be enough for all the noise, or if they'll actually stick to it.
There shouldn't be very much noise at all.
I don't think that's for noise. It's just some dumb 1,000-foot buffer for something.
Well, I have to have a 15-foot buffer on my property.
Yeah. All right. Next.
So, no safe amount. Experts worry state regulations won't do enough to protect public from data center pollution.
So this is one issue I saw. I think this is the article that talks about it with the pollution that you're talking about. You don't want to pollute.
Mm-hmm.
They're just barely outside the area where they're not. What?
The non-attainment
The,
zone.
Non-attainment.
the non-attainment area for the Salt Lake Valley area.
So what are they expecting as far as pollutants go?
Not sure.
They have to do a study. They haven't done anything.
Well, and I'm going to be devil's advocate again. They're going to be producing carbon dioxide with the natural gas.
To be fair, though, I want more carbon dioxide.
More plants, right?
Exactly.
Well,
People don't realize that carbon dioxide is not a very efficient greenhouse gas.
No, it's not.
It's very inefficient, but it's very good at making it easier for plants to live.
So supposedly there will have to be a year of background air monitoring before they can even apply for an air quality permit.
Yeah, I don't. And the Clean Air Act, I have a problem with too because
Yeah.
it's bull crap. Well, again, you're talking about carbon dioxide.
Well,
It's-
that's the thing is they always focus on the carbon dioxide as the boogeyman when it's not the boogeyman.
Well, methane's far worse.
Well, yeah, methane's more efficient, but even then it's just you don't methane. I don't
Water
care.
vapor is the best that I know of, anyway.
It is. Water vape, I think it's 90%. No, it's 97% is water vapor. The whole, what was that stupid movie by the former vice president?
Inconvenient Truth.
Inconvenient Truth.
Oh gosh, we could do a whole
When he was
podcast
going
that.
on about how carbon dioxide accounts for 30% or 33% of global warming.
No, it's water vapor.
Well, no. The 33% is, it's 33% of the 3% that is not water vapor.
And even then,
When they took water vapor out of the equation to make carbon dioxide sound worse than what it was.
oh no, it's even worse. If you read that book, they talk about how fast the polar ice caps are melting. And so I did the basic math. I'm like, that means in 6 months, they're half the size. And I looked at it, I'm like, oh, that's because they measured this in summer, starting at the summer, and then measured it for 6 months, and then stopped because when winter hits, it's not even that. I think it's like 3 months. In winter hits, it increases by double its size. So it's like, yeah, it's a cycle. It does this regularly, and it was really funny because a lot of they did a study with the carbon dioxide emissions over Hawaii, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they picked, I think it was 2001 to 2003 was when they did this study. And they said cars, there were 40,000 new cars or something that were whatever. And the tonnage of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere increased dramatically. And then you look at 2001 to 2003, and that's when Kilauea was violently erupting. And they measured it just over the Big Island because the other islands aren't downwind of Kilauea. So they're just measuring that one
where
area
it will get affected.
where carbon dioxide is literally spewing out of the ground. So like they were
hilarious.
very specific. It was actually that book that taught me to read between the lines of every study.
Well, there's that book. I don't remember who wrote it. Some chick, lying. I think it's Lying with Statistics.
Oh yeah.
And she just goes through all those details, like how to use real statistics and then twist them where you're not lying, but you really are.
Well,
You're manipulating the truth for your agenda.
we were talking about kids who are killed in gun deaths, right?
Mhm.
Same. You can use the same thing. Gun deaths. There are 40,000 gun deaths in the United States. Guns are a problem. Okay, well, 30,000 of those are suicides, and about 65 to 70% of the leftovers are gang. Okay, so the other ones are general homicides and whatnot, and how many crimes are prevented through, the average person carrying a gun.
Yep.
Millions upon millions. We're talking about tens of thousands
I think the
reduced to a couple
CDC.
thousand.
I'll have to look it up. I remember the CDC had a number that they estimated between 250,000 self-defense uses is just any time a gun was brandished and it stopped
To
the
2
crime.
million or something like that.
All the way up to like 2 to 3 million.
Yeah.
It's just like, holy
It's
crap.
insane. And that's not including law enforcement.
Yeah.
That's just average.
Yep.
That's insane. Like, that your firearm has to be brandished
You think
that
if we
often.
didn't have guns, how overwhelmed law enforcement in the U.S. would be?
Well, and not just that, but you think about, we can easily do that. All we do is look at Great Britain right now, or the UK. But you look
The
at
conquered country.
well, you look at the statistics for gun
It's not
usage.
the UK, it's the UC,
It's the
United
UC.
Caliphate.
United Caliphate. Oh boy, that's for another day. But you could see, that's just when a gun was brandished. That's not just having one. Just by having one, it's a deterrent. A firearm is a shield, not a blunt object, right?
Yeah.
It's not a sword, it's a shield. Because you walk differently when you know you're armed, because you can walk down the street and you're like, I've got 21 rounds in this firearm.
Yep.
There are 5 of you. I'm statistically
Let's
going
go ahead
to...
and hit up that next article, baby. Yes, no, it's firearms. Law enforcement in the U.S. would be overwhelmed if we didn't have our
But
own
just so
individual
you know-
firearms.
Just so we know, their monitoring studies will have to show that emissions would not move from the airshed in western Box Elder County into the Wasatch Front.
How can they do
Make
that?
sure that won't happen. I don't know how they're going to do it, but it's not supposed to happen.
That's how.
Yeah, I don't know how.
Honestly, what I think they should do.
And I think that exposes just how terrible some of those laws are, because how do you
can't.
even
And farther
control
down
for
there,
that?
it mentioned, do the policies that we have, are they actually going to protect the community around the data center? Is it really going to protect them?
Utah legislated to explore impact of data centers.
Yep.
Kind of what we just talked about. Let's skip this.
No problem. So this is the little bit longer one that we just want to kind of look through, that had a lot of interesting information.
Oh, I had brought up some of this, like the pipeline, how much gas it actually provides. So, yeah.
There's media again.
Yep, the board operates with so much unilateral development authority, that's so little public accountability, that it's better referred to as a state within a state. By bypassing standard municipal,
Municipal.
I know I always slaughter it, checks and balances, Moss and MEDA leadership engineered a structure where private equity could fast track a speculative tech corridor under the shield of state-sanctioned anonymity.
Anonymity.
I
love
and
you, but you're getting tired.
right here, Jefferson Moss, a former state representative who was appointed by Governor Spencer Cox, May 2025, to serve on the executive director of Utah's Governor Office of Economic Opportunity. And supposedly, Moss brought the data center proposal directly to MEDA.
Hmm.
Okay.
So who Cox appointed, placed it in front of MEDA. So
And there's a lot in here, but we also talked about a lot of it periodically throughout. So let's go ahead and skip this.
and this is talking about
This is
bankruptcy
getting late.
problems. I know.
I'm sure you got a curfew at some point.
No, I
Theoretically.
just do I've got the 5th Sunday lesson tomorrow
So,
at like noon.
bank-
Constitution.
Hmm.
so bankruptcy problems with it.
And freedom of religion and I don't know, something about Sharia law. I don't know.
No, just Constitution. And it's as an inspired document.
Nice.
So this information right here, today the Ruby pipeline sits in the desert operating at roughly half its physical capacity. A legacy fossil fuel straw that has suddenly been rebranded by tech developers as an infinite reservoir for artificial intelligence computation.
Yeah. Now let's go ahead and skip this, babe.
Okay.
It's getting late. My voice is almost gone. I'm struggling to keep it functioning right now.
Mentions MEDA in here too.
Where?
I grokked
Oh.
Moss.
Oh, okay.
Moss serves as a non-voting member of the Military Installation Development Authority. Non-voting member. Interesting.
Yep.
Yeah. Next
And-
tab, babe.
Okay.
There's your scout right there.
And one of the last things to point out about that is it mentions that the Ruby pipeline feeds to Oregon and Washington,
Mm-hmm.
but it also has hierarchies for who gets the gas.
Yeah.
So the problem is MEDA or the Stratos project going to pay the higher premiums to guarantee they have uninterrupted service, and they're going to say, see you later, people over in Oregon and Washington.
I don't
Let
even
them
think
freeze.
I don't even think they're going to do that. I think what they're going to do is they're going to claim national security.
Yeah.
Oh, and the article also brought up the fact that if they don't finish with this project, MEDA has unilateral authority over that 40,000 acres. So if they don't ever build out, we can't stop them
They
from
can
having
annex
someone
the
else.
rest of it.
They can have someone else come in and say, "Hey, here you go. Here's this part of it. Build whatever you want."
Hmm.
And we have no more control over it.
And
It
then they
becomes
get
their
money
property.
from that project too.
It becomes their property.
Next tab. Just state agencies starting to scrutinize the project. We'll see what happens. Scroll back up. Let me see that.
Public State Auditor launches an independent website. She says, "I'm answering to the people who elected me."
Yeah.
And that leads to this wonderful site that they made for MEDA. She made this site. It shows here their revenue, almost $82 million.
Hmm.
Where's that money coming from?
What's the taxpayer funds? What's
Expenditure,
the total expenditure?
$235 million.
Yeah, so they're a slush, is what they are.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And the stuff that we think is really interesting is they're not dealing with just military stuff.
There's a lot of weird projects that don't really involve the military.
Jordanelle. There's a bunch for Jordanelle. Meta Hideout.
Yeah, what's the hideouts?
I don't know. And then this one's interesting. Golf and Equestrian Center.
It's probably for the officers in your base.
Well, it said it's for the public. Possibly. So some of this just doesn't quite make sense.
Yeah.
Go back out. Is that Dugway? That's Dugway Proving Ground.
Yep.
And down here at the very bottom, you can see when certain things were done. Deer Valley, Jordanelle. Jordanelle, again,
Mm-hmm.
they keep on expanding there, so what's going on there?
Let's go ahead and hit up the next
Here
tab.
it is. Meta Golf and Equestrian Center. Public infrastructure. It's
Yeah.
not military. And Kyle was confused about equestrian. That's for horses.
Of course. Yeah, that's wrong.
Golf and horses.
I
That's
didn't
for rich
realize that was a
people.
word for fancy horse stuff.
That's for rich people.
Well, I have to
Not
look at the
necessarily.
project.
Huh?
Golf and horses has a lot to do with, or can have a lot to do with recreation.
Mm-hmm.
If they somehow tied it to a military in some way, I mean, that would make more sense. I'm not saying they did. I'm just saying
Yeah.
that would make sense. Because equestrian, like my aunt, she ran equestrian centers for most of her adult life. She ran them for at-risk youth.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're also really good for vets with PTSD.
Yeah.
Like I do my blacksmithing for vets with
Yeah.
PTSD. So
Let's go ahead and get to the next tab, babe.
that's an interesting. I've sent that one. That'd be
Okay. Another data center
So-
going near Cedar City.
This one's kind of facing some backlash, but not nearly as much. It's kind of getting overlooked because of the box elder one's such a big deal.
Because it's only 640 acres, not 40,000.
Yeah.
yeah.
But-
I think the other one is meant for massive expansion.
Yeah.
It's not going to start off nearly that big. It's going to be
Yeah.
there. So what they're going to do? I'm looking at the way they've structured it now. I think what they're going to do is they're going to build one. They're going to say, hey, this is how well it works. This is what's going on. And then what they're going to do is they're either going to lease the land out to others. So
Yeah.
they're going to build more buildings. Say, we're going to build you the building, and you can lease the building and everything else. Excuse me. That way the upkeep isn't nearly as much of a problem for them.
Mm-hmm.
Which would actually be better for locals because then it would be easier for them to hire locally because they would have training centers. And then they would lease out more and more buildings. I think that's what they're going to end up doing is have data centers for multiple companies, and they're going to control it. Because, like I said, there are not a lot of areas in the United States or anywhere else where this is even remotely acceptable,
Mm-hmm.
right? I mean, they can't do this in the middle of the Sahara Desert. There's no water. They can't do this in the middle of Vegas because there's no water,
Yeah.
right? They need that water. This is one of the only places in the United States
You have
that is
that unique combination.
yeah, where all of the resources that they need, it's
Are
remote
available.
enough, but it's still close enough to a large population center. It still has resources that we can, get to. It's right along a pipeline. Like that, it is literally right along that pipeline.
Yep.
Like you will not find a more perfect place
Yeah.
than this. I think what their business model is they're just going to lease out data center buildings.
Yeah.
So we're looking at a 6,000 acre area to start off with, which is going to grow into something far more massive eventually.
Yeah.
That gives me hope. I'm not saying I like it, but that gives me hope because that means that it's not going to be this planned project that is just we know how big it's going to be. It's going to have to grow and scale over time with the area.
Yeah.
But
The pollution is the problem, and the fact that they're just pushing it through, that's another issue.
so
Yeah.
the Cedar City one, I think people are not as angry about it because right here, documents say there'll be a one-time fill of roughly 8 acre feet. They're being honest. They're saying it's going to be 8 acre feet to fill it. And it's projected annual use of 3.13 acre feet. So they're actually saying we're going to use this much. Whereas the Stratos one, we have no clue. They're not telling us anything about how much they're going to use.
I think it's because they don't know.
Yeah.
That fits the model. They don't know how much. We've got numbers for the small section. We do not have numbers for this massive thing.
Yeah.
So I think what's going on is
They're hiding all that because they're like, well, we don't know.
they have no idea. They have no idea what it's going to require because they don't know how well it's going to run.
And
know
how
they're gonna
well
build-
it's going to scale.
And how well it's going to scale. They're gonna build. Yeah, it's. I mean, looking at it, it's a perfect spot. That's the sad thing. I wish they would communicate more. I wish they would make it so that it's more transparent. I also really hope that they understand the environmental impact if they don't do things correctly,
Oh, yeah.
because it could kill Salt Lake City.
Literally.
Yeah, quite literally.
Very literally
It
kill
could
them.
really damage local farmland. I mean, looking at an environmental problem on a scale that has never been seen before by
Next
humankind.
tab. Yeah, the Cedar City one's not nearly as much of an issue.
This one's Iron County.
Oh, that's the video from it.
But they're also being more open.
Yeah. Next one.
Although I doubt seriously they're only going to use that one-time fill. The water has to go somewhere. I mean, they can put it into another tank.
And also, I've mentioned to Christy, like, these data centers, like this one's in Arizona.
Along Green River.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe so.
By Page and
A
Horseshoe
lot of these I
Bend.
don't care about as much because this is just water they're taking away from Californians. So it's like, it's California. We don't care about them anyways.
But this
That's
is
why
gonna
you got
be
out.
roughly 2 miles away from this Horseshoe Bend.
I've
may-
been there.
It may kind of ruin the area if it drains the water out of the stream.
They would have to use a lot of water. That is a very, very powerful
Big
river.
river,
Yeah. I mean, for the West Coast at least. It's not the Mississippi, but
obviously.
it's a pretty big river.
Yeah, I don't think it's. But I think these aren't going as big, really, because they're not as controversial.
I think the reason
The data centers aren't as big.
they also probably
the waters
don't have the resources to build anything bigger,
Yeah,
because they're going to have to pipe in power or gas
Mhm.
for these things, and they can't do it for large data centers.
yeah.
This one is literally sitting on top of the pipe.
Yep. Next tab.
So this one's hopeful.
This is one of the lawsuits.
META violated the state law in approval process. So a civic group that aims to hold the government institutions accountable claims the board that approved the proposed Boxtelder County data center violated Utah law in doing so.
The gist of the story is basically, according to the law, apparently, they have to have that local government approval first before they can sign contractors.
But they've already signed
But
contract.
what happened, though, is the county went to vote. They delayed the vote by a week. A few days later,
When it got in
they
there,
signed contractors, and then the vote was held. And so they probably were not expecting the 1 week delay on the vote.
Especially if they already had meetings and things like that.
they
Yeah.
were planning on it being
So they probably weren't
April
expecting it.
27th, the Monday after. they
But
were
then it was
informed
what,
on Wednesday.
May what?
And
2nd or-
miscommunications probably. Yeah, so they already thought it was going through
Mhm.
because
They
they thought
didn't. I think it's a technicality because they didn't expect the 1 week delay on the vote, but then they went ahead and signed the contractors because they probably already had the appointment to sign set.
yeah.
Because the timeline was the county commissioners got it April 22nd. META board approved it April 24th. They were supposed to vote on it April 27th, and they delayed it a week.
A week. Yeah, that's a sad technicality.
But whatever forces them to stop the project and forces them to start being more open about it.
So the group alleges META signed an agreement with the development team before the project's plans were legally effective.
Yeah, that would do it. Unfortunately, Utah is notorious for kicking lawsuits out.
Yeah.
Notorious for it. Especially if there's enough money involved.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Cox does it all the time. He's got the federal government breathing down his neck and going, "Why didn't you give us this data? Why haven't you still given us this data?"
Yep.
Oh, it's a frivolous lawsuit. It's not frivolous. Just happens to affect the governor, which is a big no-no.
So that's the thing. However, a plan document adopted on April 24th claims the county had given legal consent on April 26th, which
Nope.
the vote was supposed to be April 27th, but they delayed it a week.
Yeah.
So they don't even have their dates right.
So
If
that
that's the
consent was not
case,
actually given.
if that's the case, then signing contractors. See, that's a weird law anyway. I mean, it might help them at this point in time, but that's a weird law because that means that you would have to delay certain things for a very specific amount of time if it doesn't go through already.
And the Blue, in its statement, META said the actions of its board on April 24th did not approve the construction of the data center. It only put tools in place to review and regulate the facility. So
If-
that's a...
Yeah, if they signed something, that is approval. If they've signed contracts, that's approval. That is, oh yeah, we've got this.
Mm-hmm.
Using that language, they can't. I don't know. That's legalese. They can do whatever they want. It's what you can prove in court that matters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, pretty much.
So we'll have to see. Like you said, stuff gets thrown out. It might go through still.
Hit
If-
that next tab.
If they get forced to the position to where they're like, okay, please just disclose what you plan, right? Then, if they have to sign DNRs or whatever, or not DNRs, non-disclosures, NDAs. Yeah, don't sign an DNR. But if they can put enough pressure to get them to disclose the information, and so that the people can approve the information on the usage of resources. Again, they can build whatever they want, as far as I'm concerned, because it's their property, right? I would expect the same thing. I don't want the city to come in. You can't build that because some stupid reason. It's on my property. I can build whatever I want. Whether it affects my neighbors or not, again, that's me being able to communicate with my neighbors. The government is not supposed to be a mediator between groups of people.
It should really just be there to resolve disputes when you guys aren't able to do that.
It's not even really supposed to do that. It's
Yeah.
there to set the framework.
Yeah.
The ones who set who are supposed to resolve disputes are people who can communicate.
Yeah.
We've given government power because we just don't want to communicate with our neighbors.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to do that, so we're going to create a law that means that you can't drink water on Sundays from a glass that's red. I mean, there's plenty of laws out there that are like that.
Yeah.
Right? We pass over 600 new bits of legislation every year in this state. That's insane.
Doesn't even make sense.
That is absolutely insane. So, if they can pressure the people to disclose, even if it's we really don't know, okay, well then we're going to have to do the study. You can move forward with certain things, but if you don't meet these requirements, it's going to shut down. That means you're going to waste a lot of money. So now you've got this group working together, okay? You got to meet these environmental standards. We don't want a dust bowl, please. We don't want Utah to die, please, right? Versus, well, you can't have it because we don't know and you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
My concern is with the pollution, they're not mentioning it, but a lot of data centers have the diesel generators for backup. That's going to put so much stuff into the air.
Well, it depends. Diesel is very clean. I'd rather run diesel than I would, gasoline.
Diesel and natural gas are really good.
Natural gas is very clean.
Especially diesel in general compared to other fuel sources besides natural gas, just because, I mean, in a truck, you see people going, hitting the gas, smoking it out and whatnot, but that's not what a generator is doing. A generator is just very smoothly running the whole time.
Well, not to mention that those larger particulates, if you ever watch them, they don't go,
No.
they go flunk.
Yeah.
And the ground ends up absorbing all that CO2 anyway, which ends up, making things more green.
Yep.
The biggest problems with certain fuels are availability. You would have to ship tons of diesel.
Yeah,
Out
that's another concern.
per
If they're
day.
going to do that as a backup, they're not disclosing that.
Yeah, well, maybe that's what the solar panels are for, because the solar panels themselves are not going to you really don't need much power to run a GPU. You really don't. Like, they run off of, what, 20 watts? It's less than that? I mean,
I don't know.
you can run one constantly off of very, very little. It's not very much energy. You are scaling it to billions of these dang things.
Yeah.
The other thing is we're not going to be able to get the chips for these in time either, because
For China, if China was the concern, we're not getting the chips in time for all this.
well, China's not building the chips. Taiwan is building these chips.
Yeah.
Now we're getting a new chip center in I think Arizona.
Well, we're not getting the chips fast enough to compete with China, is what it is.
Well, China's not building them
Well,
either.
that's the thing. It's like,
In order to build some of these chips, you need a nuclear reactor in order
Yeah.
to get the silicate right. I mean, it depends on the types of chips, but you have to run the silicate through for very high end, powerful chips.
yeah.
You need to run the silicate through.
So this is the last one. It has nothing to do with Utah, but residents furious after their town board rejected an OpenAI data center, but a billionaire developer forced it through anyways. He sued.
Yeah. So again, this, if it's his property, he's building something. If they are, like, it depends on the lawsuit. It's the same thing. So the church, right? The church was building a building out in Texas. And there's this big old thing. And it was funny because it was a buddy of mine who's not a member who's like, oh, what do you think of this? And I don't know why. I just I went, I'll look at the local map because I know for some reason something's fishy, right?
Mm-hmm.
The church wanted to build this temple, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
The city said no, can't build anything over a certain height. There's nobody around there. It's not a big city, right? There's almost nobody around there. You can't
Yeah.
build more than, I think, 30 feet.
Yeah.
But you can get zoning approval, for higher than that. And you look at the property, right? And they show you this picture of this property. This is the property in question. You look exactly next door, and there's a megachurch.
It was way
I
taller.
wonder who's pushing this in this area.
Yep.
I wonder exactly who is causing this problem in this specific Texas area.
Yep.
Because they're over the height. They're not going to be nearly as tall as the temple, but they're over the height. And there was this big thing, the church and its big lawyers are taking on this small town. It's like, no.
No.
They had a stupid height rule for some, some stupid reason, some mandate. And the mega church just happens to be next door.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't want an LDS temple and there was going to be a stake center or a larger building there.
Yeah.
All on this campus. And they were furious about it. And so they lobbied with the legislatures in the city. It's like, okay, this is the problem. The church owns the property. They can build whatever they want. You own your property. You can do whatever you want on your property. That's the way it's supposed to be.
The only reason why I would say this, to some degree, might be a little different, is like that. There's that data center in Georgia. They ended up, what was it, like? How
29 million.
49 million.
29.
29 million gallons of water they stole
Yeah.
because they were improperly connected to the water, and people in the area noticed their water pressure decreasing.
Yeah. And that's
where they're directly affecting the water supply of their neighbors.
because that's the resources. Okay, so you can build what you want, but in order to get the resources, you have to get the approval. So that's where you get the city and
But
this
here's
company.
the thing: why even
agree.
let them build the data center in the first place if the resources don't exist for it?
Because the city wanted money, and the city was the one who wanted the taxes.
Yeah.
So that's why they're. So it's not the data center is not the
That's
not
why
the
I'm
problem.
talking
It's
about
the
this
government.
other data center when they forced it through
Yeah,
anyways.
and that's what I'm saying with this. It's they can build what they want, but when it comes to the resources, right? That's what they have to push approval for.
Yeah.
So, but the problem is they're like, well, you can't build here. They can build here. They just have to ask for permission
for the resources.
because we have to, right?
Mhm.
And then it should be the exact same price that we use, if not more, because they're
Yeah.
using it at a higher rate,
So
right?
it says they sued them alleging the township had practiced exclusionary zoning. It was farmland they were trying to turn to a data center.
Okay, again, I have a problem with that. If it was about the resources itself, I don't have a problem. Right? They can sue them because they're saying, well, they're actually not, they were agreed to this much, and they're using twice as much, we get to sue. Or,
Well, it's the data center developer that was
But-
suing.
This is the stupid part. The Related Digital, that's the company, could have forced the data center anyway by partnering with the University of Michigan, which can bypass local zoning laws.
Well, the University of Michigan is a state authority, so they get to do whatever they want. Again, I think they should have been able to build what they wanted, but they still have to ask for permission. That's where you get
For the resource.
for the resources.
They all people said no, and they still sued him.
Yeah, and I
Said no.
I still have a problem with if I want to build something in my town. If I want to paint my house pink, right? And which I'm not in an HOA. I didn't agree to anything, like that. I didn't sign anything. If I come in and the city says you can't have that shade of pink, and here's all the signatures of your neighbors, I'd be going, no, I can make it whatever I want.
Yeah.
However, if I start using an exuberant amount of electricity and I end up either not paying for it or I'm drawing way more than I should and it's affecting everybody else, that's a shared resource.
Yeah.
I can be there's a problem with that.
Yeah.
Right? So, I mean, that's the, I guess, more libertarian. I don't want to say it was libertarian. What's mine is mine and what's ours is ours.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's really what that's
Sounds so communist, but
No.
the thing is, though, is like even though all of us should have access to those resources, there is a limit on the pipeline, for example.
There
that
is.
Can bring how much water can it bring in?
Now, as a business, if I say, well, I will build a brand new pipe that will bring more than even we use for the rest of all the other businesses in the area,
Well, it's like
now
the
the city
Buc-ee's.
should go, yes, please.
The Buc-ee's.
The Buc-ee's.
Part of their contract is they're paying to help upgrade a lot of the sewer and everything in that
Not to
area.
mention the off-ramp and the on-ramp.
Mhm.
They're paying for that on-ramp. There's no on-ramp there.
Yeah.
They're paying for it. So everybody
No,
goes,
there is. There
the
is
new one that they're putting in?
There is an on and off ramp there where they're at, but it's going to be rebuilt to better accommodate access to the Buc-ee's and the other stores there.
Well, yeah, and they're building a new one down the street of the next on-ramp. They're building one. So
Really?
you've got 400, and you have the one after it.
1,400.
No, 1,400 first. I'm going the other direction.
Oh, okay.
1,400, 400, and then there's one after that.
Okay.
They're building a new one right there.
I didn't know they were going to build a new one.
Yeah,
Gosh,
because
dang.
because now there's going to be so much traffic there, and I think Buc-ee's is actually paying for that, and they're updating the other one.
Yeah.
Which is like, well, that's how a business should run. They're like, we're coming into your community. We're going to be providing a lot of
The
really
business
nice.
is going to drastically change the area, so we're going to pay.
We're going to offer
upgrade the-
really nice bathrooms that women like, because that's actually Buc-ee's business model. I'm not joking. They base their entire business model off of bathrooms.
Really.
I'm not joking. Their
That's
bathrooms,
hilarious.
their bathrooms are the best. Not to mention, as a gas station, they don't allow truckers.
Oh, really?
If you look at a Buc-ee's, they're a massive gas station, but there are no trucker gas stations.
Dang.
They
I
don't
didn't realize
allow
that.
truckers because
I knew they were more family oriented in design.
Mhm.
I didn't realize they're like no truckers or lot lizards.
they are specifically designed to appeal to women.
Hmm.
And it's a brilliant business model, and it's why they work.
That's awesome.
And it's absolutely incredible. And
That's
they're
awesome.
they're very mindful of the areas that they move into. If these data centers did these things,
Oh yeah.
not to mention if they said
They
"No,
wouldn't be as controversial.
Like we just said, that other data center, they're telling them it'll be this much to fill it, this much yearly water consumption for it.
that's open, and as
The
long as
other
they do
one-
what they're said, they're
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, the Stratos one, we have not a single clue what they're going to do.
That's again, I think that's because they're going to be a leasing complex.
Yeah.
I really believe that it is meant to up the property value in which Utah government loves because it gives them more tax money.
Mhm.
Utah government loves upping the property values of Utah properties. They absolutely love it.
It's a way to increase taxes without having to vote.
Yeah, exactly, and it causes so many different problems. It kills us out here because then no one can live out here, right? You
Yep.
want Utah to be like California, you go right ahead and keep doing that, and
It's going to turn into a shithole state real
and it's going to
fast.
kill the state because you're like, well, we'll only get the rich people in here. That's kind of what happened to California for a couple generations or for a couple decades, like literally 20 years, and then it fell into a hole right after the housing bubble crash, and no one could afford anything.
Yeah.
So we're going to have the same problem. Now, Utah didn't feel the housing bubble at all. 2008, we're like, yeah, we're building. You guys do what you're doing.
Yeah.
We're building. You could buy a house still for $60,000 here in Utah.
Mhm.
And people, well, there's no jobs. There are plenty of jobs. There are plenty of schools. Everything was great. Like, I'm surprised there wasn't a mass exodus to Utah, but
Yeah.
that's because of culture and unforeseen, people didn't know what it was like.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Sorry,
no, you're good. That's all we got for today.
We hope you guys thought our podcast on the Box Elder Data Center and what we think about it, what we found out about it, which is not a lot, and the
Ironically.
person who made that Meta website, she said everything that's on there is what they know about Meta. So the question is, what backdoor stuff do they not know
Not
about?
know about Meta, but the Meta
the
project.
media
Yeah.
projects.
But it's just the Meta itself. They're putting everything up there
Yeah. All
about
right.
it and what they know.
If you really want to know, you contact Marlo Oaks. He is the state treasurer, and you ask him if he can give you a website that will direct you to exactly where the money is being spent. Because I got one of those the other night.
Sweet. All right.
For
Well,
another project.
let's go ahead and get out of here. You guys have a good night.